Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live right here on Think Critical YouTube, your Saturday morning delight. It is a down period within comic news. Everyone blew their wad at San Diego Comic-Con, but we are staying afloat. There's some comic books of note to come out there. There is an ongoing debate regarding a new logo in Batman. And, you get some nerds together. You can always talk about something, have a little bit of fun. Returning to the channel, big time appreciative that Uel's back. It's been too long, Uel. What happened?
I don't know. I said I couldn't make it one day, and then
I held it against you.
And then I think you asked me again. I said, sorry, I can't make it again. And I said, 100% if you need me the next week, I'm there. And then I didn't hear from you. So I knew I had to jump in today or else.
That was all good. I do get caught up in a rhythm where, kind of
I understand. Things, yeah.
I am very happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Let's
talk about the latest in the retailer sphere.
Yeah. We're going to do that. Can't wait.
How are things going?
Pretty well, actually. I've had some pretty busy days at the store selling comic books. Of course, you have your shenanigans that interrupt business for, things you can't control. But overall, the last couple of weeks have been very heavy, large piles of comics leaving in, not multiple copies either, just a lot of them.
What's the flavor of the day?
Well, if we're going to be talking about it, but this week, Aliens Avengers did really well.
That's a $7 comic or $8 comic.
Yeah, so there was a returning person that never shopped with us before, but he's all, yeah, I'd like to get the Alien Avengers. So, people outside of comic books are actually finding out about it. And he asked for, can I get a bag and a board also? I charged 35 cents for those. And the total came to like $9.12 or something like that, some weird number. And he's all, $9, that's a lot of money. And, we're kind of talking about it. But at the end, I'm like, it's worth it, though.
It's a good book.
It's the only one he bought, too.
Yeah.
Beautiful work. Yeah, good stuff.
Now, people were mad at us about Wolverine Revenge last week, and I think Aliens versus Avengers is much better. What was your read on Wolverine Revenge?
I didn't have a problem with it, but I got to admit I didn't entirely finish the story. Thinking, I'm going to probably read a little bit more when it comes out, the second issue. By the way, the ordering for the second issue is only now happening. Oh, no, that's Aliens Avengers. So sorry. So it's going to be a while for that one. But yeah, I thought Wolverine Revenge really wasn't that bad. But when we were backstage talking about Greg Capullo's artwork, and we had some cool things to say about that. And I kind of agree that Capullo stuff isn't really maybe fully up to snuff, and he has some idiosyncrasies, like Doc was saying. But overall, I thought it was a pretty okay book, and it sold well for me. So that's the important thing.
That's the important part. Absolutely. That's what you want to see. Get you to the absolute universe and all that stuff. What's going on Fantastic Comics YouTube? Obviously, Fantastic Comics, the comic book shop, but you also have the YouTube. Any big interviews or anything going on?
Not recently. It's just been me taking off every once in a while now. I was like, man, if Josh can do it, I can do it, If that pop culture show ain't gonna come up, I don't think I need to be on either. Overall, it's just been talking about books and things like that. I had a fun little spicy segment where I said DC Comics needs a Nancy Pelosi to kick Jim Lee out. Thought that was pretty funny and topical, at the moment.
Yeah, it's very now, Uel.
Well, it was 2 weeks ago, so it was even more now then. But yeah, YouTube, Fantastic Comics. If you want to see a retailer's perspective and silliness, I've been reading comics all my life, so you get some idiotic things that we're gonna say here on my own show, just by myself usually.
Have you cracked any slabs lately?
No, but I have a customer that's going to bring a couple by, and we're going to do a video on that. Yeah, that's the big thing in comics right now, really, is the anti-CGC sentiment. And I feel like I was holding a torch for that for a long time. And now it's like, yeah, I'm not going to get any recognition, but I'm super happy that people are realizing, oh, damn, I spent a lot of money on this stuff. the grade ain't necessarily what it's supposed to be. Nobody's buying them anymore, and I have this inflated price that I'm never going to get. And people are seeing the error of their ways, I think, just a little bit.
And one too many controversies happen in a 12-month period.
Well,
for them, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Well, that
big ones too.
That plus the economy fucking sucks. And
well, I mean, but even when we were doing some of the grading videos with Wes back in the day, we were talking about how those credit card payments are going to come due, and people are going to try and get rid of their books. And now that the bubble, I mean, regardless of the economy, this bubble was going to burst in comic books. You know, the back issue sales were not going to stay as high as they were. And it's gotten to the point where it's, you know, things are settling down where it's supposed to be. That $80 comic is now like a $40 comic. And if you paid in at $70, you're not going to see much of a return. If you're lucky. If you're lucky, you're going to get break even. So tough times ahead for those people.
Do you know what comic books you're going to be cracking on those slabs, or you want it to be maintain a mystery to it?
He usually gets old Bill Everett comic covers. So this guy is a big collector of comics that are way out of most of our price range.
So it's going to be cool.
So, yeah, it's really nice. And then he lets me flip through them and stuff like that. And good times.
Very, very nice. We've also got returning to the channel. We've got Dylan the Catman himself. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be back.
So last time we talked, there was a big UFC show, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that Drickus is going to pull this thing off. I think he's going to whoop that boy's ass. And you said there's no way Adesanya was going to pull it off, and Drickus did it.
Yeah, we were both right. Drickus won.
Choked him out.
Yeah, he showed that Izzy doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't have that dog in him anymore. He doesn't. Not it. It was great.
No.
I was very happy about that.
It was a good card?
Yeah, it's a pretty good card, actually.
There you go. Very nice. What's going on in the world of Dylan? You still collecting comic books? You got any podcasts that people need to know about?
Yeah, still collecting comics, and I got a big video going out today about Camelot Falls, one of my favorite Superman stories. It's from Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco. It's really good. So I have a big video about that going out today. So make sure to check that out when it goes.
Did you put a lot of effort into it?
Yes, I put a lot of effort.
Like hours?
Yes.
That video is going to suck. It's going to bomb. Anytime you put effort into a video, it never does well. And then when you put no effort or thought into a video, it blows up. That's the way it works.
That tends to be the way YouTube does. They know. YouTube knows when you spend a lot of time on a video.
There's an effort algorithm that you guys don't know exists.
Yeah, that was
they
can
tell. He put a lot of time and production value into this.
Oh.
We better fuck him real hard.
Let's not promote that at all. Now, this week, Dylan, I didn't know it was happening. It was it wasn't completely out of nowhere, because halfway through the book, I was like, whoa, this feels like the end of the story. Nottingham 15 is the final comic book in that series. So it's going to end up being 3 volumes from David Hazan and Shane Connery-Volk. And I know you've read the first 2 volumes, so the next one will be the end of the story.
Oh, I did not know that. That's would you say it was a satisfying ending?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's not like you're not going to, maybe you won't be happy. I'm not sure what your allegiances are regarding the political machinations of Nottingham and all that kind of stuff, but it's pretty good. It was well done. And now it kind of makes sense, because David Hazan has moved on to that Kosher Mafia book. And then Shane Connery-Volk, the artist, has a writer illustrated book coming out next week, I believe, called Prairie Gods. And they've kind of moved on to their next projects.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited to read the trade. I hope they don't take forever to get the trade out, because I do want to read it.
Definitely. It's definitely worth your time on that one. You were a fan of the art, right? From Volk?
Yeah. I really like it.
Do you like race cars and cars and stuff like that? Muscle cars?
Yeah.
Definitely check out Prairie Gods #1. I think it's from Mad Cave. But it's the best car racing scene that I've seen in comic books since Batman the White Knight is issue #5. Very, very cool stuff. If you're looking for something cool that's coming out next week, did you order that one, Uel?
Yeah, it's in this. I actually checked it in last night.
Did you look at it?
No, I haven't got a chance to. I like Mad Cave's. Firstly, just the feel of their books are different than almost all the other books that are on the shelves. And I really like their presentation, but I don't get around to reading all of them unless, Joe writes them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would suggest checking out Prairie Gods. I think you might like it. It was pretty cool. If you like
Cullen Bunn?
GTOs and stuff.
Well, no, you said it was the guys from Nottingham doing it?
The artist is writing and illustrating it.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then the writer from Nottingham is actually doing that Kosher Mafia book, which is actually really good as well.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Absolutely. You got anything else for us, Dylan, that people need to know about?
No, that's it. Just the video on Camelot Falls, which will be up in like a few hours. So please check that out. If you're
any big fights coming up?
Big fights. Yeah, Rob is in October. Robert Whitaker, my favorite fighter, is going to be fighting Hamzat again, assuming he doesn't get a cold week of the fight, which he probably will. And that's going to be a huge card. That's going to be a big card. Because you also have Holloway's going to be fighting for the 145 title again, and he's fighting Ilya Tapor instead of Volk this time, so he could actually win. So that'll be
very nice.
Yeah,
you're looking for that out for October. We've also got Aaron Sparrow, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing really well, Wes. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic.
Oh, good. It's good to be here on a Saturday. It's weird that Sully's not here. I've gotten used to Sully, like just watching him like pour his coffee and have a good time, even when we're not talking to him. But it's funny because I noticed Jim was here. I just noticed that. Like I was so zoned out.
Hello. Thank you.
And it was just because someone in the chat said, Jim, Doc, and Sparrow, this is going to be good. And I was like, oh man, the pressure.
Yes.
now I got this pressure to perform.
Well, you've got lots of pressure to perform. You're working on what, like 4 projects right now?
Working on 4 projects. Yeah. Maybe 5. I don't know. I'm so overwrought. I'm trying to get a couple off my plate so I can relax. But we're really close to launching Kneel Before Doomface. And I know I got to get some stuff off my plate before we get to the campaign.
Are you excited? You nervous? A little bit.
I am nervous. I'm nervous because this is it. This is no safety net. There's no plan B. If this doesn't work, I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore.
Everybody in chat is going to support this book, right, chat? Right?
I hope so.
Come on,
Aaron deserves
so.
I'm working great band.
I'm working hard for you guys. I want to tell a story that's funny and over time will be poignant and interesting. And I want to give you all the things in comics that you're not getting from the mainstream right now.
All right.
And this week, Aaron, I gave you the hard sell on Andor on Disney Plus.
You did.
I said you could love Star Wars again if you check this show out. I felt it was right down your alley. Have I swayed you yet?
I mean, if I can find a copy on the that someone has burned, or I can find something on the high seas that's not going to give me a computer virus, I might watch it. But will I pay for Disney Plus? Absolutely not.
There you go. And Dylan, you support that recommendation on Andor.
Oh yeah, I have it. I got Andor on Blu-ray.
Oh, okay, so it's on Blu-ray. Okay,
yeah,
so
they actually released it on Bluray in 4K. So
do you want to send that to Aaron and he'll send it right back?
Oh yeah, I'll just send it right over.
You probably overnight it or something like that. But Andor's got it's got jailbreaks, it's got heist, it's got a Mexican standoff, it's got everything you want. What do you think, Aaron?
It's above anything else that Disney has done with Star Wars. Aside
Rogue
from
One is the only thing that they've done that I really love. So, it seems like Andor would be, and when I saw the film and they first introduced Cassian and he kills that guy. And then like later in the movie, when he says like, you don't understand the things I've had to do for the rebellion. I was like, I like this. I like this whole kind of like dark underpinning of the, the things that you have to do in war. And he's like one of the guys that's like doing the Black Ops stuff, doing the stuff that, they don't put on the posters, but that has to get done if you want to win. Against this, this overarching empire. Cassian was a character that definitely I thought was interesting. I just feel like the show came a couple of years too late. It took them too long to get off the ground, and they unfortunately hobbled it with so much bad Star Wars around it. Those sequels and then the Solo movie and just everything that Rian Johnson did and then everything J.J. Abrams followed up with. Oof. It's hard to overcome that. It's tough to be invested in Star Wars when you know that they have not decanonized the sequels. If that's where we're going, I don't care about the ride. So it's tough.
There you go. I'm going to keep working on Aaron because I think there's a show out there and we're getting to season 2 very soon. Next up, we do have Jim. Jim, you haven't almost died in quite some time. And thankfully this week you changed the tide of that and you almost killed yourself.
Yep, I did. Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing, Jim?
Yeah, we needed to replace some elements on our water heater, and I thought the electricity was off. It was not, and we went to do it, and it kind of sparked. And then I yelled at my son, who was supposed to have turned off the electricity, and I should have realized because we had some things going on, but we had already turned off the light in the deal, and that's why I didn't know, but it was messed up. But other than that,
so here's the thing,
fine.
Jim. Water is a conductor.
Yes, yeah.
And if you're
Also,
in the water,
when you're using
electrical elements,
metal tools and things, but yeah, he was supposed to have turned. I don't know what he was doing. He went to go turn off the electric. He yelled something. I'm like, all right. Went to hit it. Thing sparked, and I realized. Yeah. So, and then I thanked, not thanked. I actually was like, oh, it almost happened. I was so happy, but it did not. So here I am. I'm still here.
Well, I'm glad.
I am glad, though, like you were saying earlier, I'm glad that Nottingham gave you a happy ending, by the way. I just wanted to say that as you were talking about it. It was good.
So what's going on with Jim? You're doing a few less reviews. You got any reviews people need to be checking out?
Yeah. I think I'm starting next week. I'll start doing more things. I've not been feeling well. I have vertigo. I'm just a wreck. But I'm going to start doing more video stuff. I've been doing more dirty song stuff, and I'll kind of go back to the comic stuff in a little bit. It's just been down, like you said, but there'll be things on there.
Are you going to do dirty comic book songs?
I have done comic book songs, and maybe some of them were a little dirty, but I don't know. I at one point I had the theory that I'd be the only song-based review deal that bombed. So I didn't.
People got mad at you.
Oh my God, they got so mad. I don't know why, but I thought it was kind of neat, but people did not like it. So I'll be back to.
They didn't like your diss track on Tom King.
I actually did have a diss track on Tom King. Yeah. They did not like that. No. I don't know why, but they didn't like it. Oh, wow.
You're ahead of your time. It's like remember when you used to do those interviews with all those writers and you asked them about their chicken wing?
Yeah.
You got pushed back.
It would have worked. It would have worked, but people just don't like innovation, I guess. So
and then the one time you try to play video games and do an interview.
That was true too. I was doing live stream interview with comic. I thought that'd be cool. Yeah, people didn't like that either. And maybe it's just me. They all hate me. So next up, I don't even know. I was going to make up something else. Next up, I'll make a porn that will also be a comic.
No,
that might work.
Upsetting me.
But yeah, other than that, just same things. And I'm doing some songs and stuff like that over on the other channel. But yeah, that's about it.
Very, very nice. Welcome back. Good to see you, Jim. Hope you're feeling better because you've been having a rough go.
Yeah. Hopefully.
What's with the vertigo?
I don't know.
Is it like an inner ear thing?
I went and got checked. They say it's not. So I don't know, but it could be part of like blood pressure. I have no idea. I'm right here. I'm sitting here and I have a bucket next to me that I'll have to end up, muting the mic. Hopefully I just every day for 2 weeks now, I've been dizzy as hell. Sucks.
Very crazy.
Yep. That's normal.
On such a high note, we'll move over to Doc. Doc, you and I already talked about a couple of topics, including reviewing Deadpool Team Up #1 from Rob Liefeld, one of your heroes in comic books. So you should be in a good mood.
Well, I don't know if I actually consider anyone in comic books my hero. That's a incredibly low bar. But no, I'm in a very good mood. Since Aaron's here, I'll mention I went and bought a bunch of fucking toys in the last week because I keep always is getting all kinds of new stuff. I got like the giant like 11.7 inch fucking super adaptoid and just a really cool looking Red Skull from, I mean, granted it's the What If series, but the design on Red Skull is really, really good. And I got a Howard the Duck too. And
yeah, the Howard the Duck is cool. He comes with that weird. It's supposed to be Ant-Man's head in a jar. It's supposed to be Paul Rudd, but it looks like the guy from Better Call Saul.
Yeah, it kind of does. And
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
But it also just looks like it's like from an episode of Futurama, where it's just heads in jars. And then yesterday, actually, I found, I mean, I hate the fucking plastic-free packaging. I will not, I mean, for the longest time, I abjectly refused to buy any of them. But
everybody did. That's why they went back.
Yeah. The Rogue.
I want styrofoam packaging.
Well, yeah, styrofoam packaging, but at least the blister pack, damn it. I want to see the fucking toy I'm buying. I don't want to just see I'm buying a cardboard box with art on it. But no, it's the Rogue one, like the 1980s style.
The Outback Rogue.
Yeah, with the J. Scott Campbell art on the box. And haven't opened it yet because I'm have to actually see if all the parts of it are in there, because the box feels really light.
It's a really light feeling. It's a really light feeling figure, but yeah, those boxes. There's already a big problem in the action figure community with swapping. So you'll go into a store and you'll be like, "Oh, I found that figure that I want," and then you'll look and someone has swapped it out and returned it. And then you'll take it to the front. You'll be like, "Hey, this isn't the right figure. I just want to make sure that like a mom doesn't accidentally buy it or something." And they'll be like, "Oh, okay." And then you'll go back the next day and it's just right back out on the shelves because they don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm, in fact, I might just open that during the show today, just to find out whether or not Rogue is actually in the Rogue box.
But I need to set you up with a whole Outback, like, just every figure from the Outback era.
I know. I've been looking at buying some of the that X-Men 275 cover line, including the Walmart exclusive Xavier Warlord. But I'm sitting there going, I am not paying retail price for any of these fucking toys. I abjectly refused. So
there's a wrap it up button. I'm going to hit it.
All right, then.
You need to have that little Staples button where you can record like different things, and you can just wrap it up. Wrap it up.
We do have something that happened within the family. We have had a stroke of bad luck almost going around, obviously, with what happened to Eric, and certainly with what happened to Jim. And this is from Adam Frey. Sad news. AL lost her apartment to a fire this week. If there's any way to send help, we'd love to pitch in with cash and manga. AL, I believe, is in the chat right now. She did reach out to me, and it sounds like she had an apartment fire, lost her comics and manga and stuff like that. Sounds like they're going to be okay, but she's also had a terrible string of luck for the past year. So if you have thoughts, prayers, good vibes to send, definitely be sending it to AL's way, because they did suffer a very unpleasant tragedy this week with the apartment and everything. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but unfortunately, they did lose a lot of stuff. And we're here for you, AL. If you need anything, let us know. Obviously, we will do what we can to help out. But that was some more bad news for the Thinking Critical family. AL has been a staple here for years now, so that was absolutely terrible. I do want to give a shout out to the Patreon backers. We got a few new ones this week. Really appreciate everyone supporting us over on Think Critical Patreon. The YouTubes does not make it easy. First up, thank you very much to Brian Canfield, aka Burnout, the protector of Speedway City. Also, thank you very much for returning to Austin M, the Mudslayer himself, the protector of Swampgate. And finally, thank you very much for supporting the channel to Chris Thomas, who protects the Triton's Ridge as the Tsunami himself, another fantastic superhero. If you support us over on Think Critical Patreon, you get a superhero name, you get a place to protect, you get a shout out here, and you also get a wide variety of awesome podcasts and extra bonuses like reviews and other videos out there that you won't see on Think Critical YouTube. There is a link in the video description if you would like to do that. And we do have a few other super chats we should get to before we get into the topics. Federico de la Casa. Hi, Wes. I've seen your take on Spider-Man. I think nowadays Peter Parker is too Chad for even these writers that wanted a spineless man like Paul to win her over. What do you think? Are you a fan of Paul? Are you a Paul guy?
Is anybody a fan of Paul? Maybe
I've never met
No.
anyone that like Paul.
No.
I'm not a fan. I mean,
hashtag Paul sucks.
It's a contrivance. It's just a plot device that is going to get cleared up in the future. And if it doesn't, everybody's going to always ask, when is it going to happen? Paul sucks. I agree.
Are you on board with me that he's clearly a criminal running an enterprise, probably destroying MJ's credit rating by driving?
Oh my God. I don't know about that, but if he could, like, ultimately, I mean, the thing is like when he could have been the bad guy was all the way back when we found out who he was, so to turn him in any way would be not good either. There's just no way out of this character. Other than just, you got to do like, who here have you talked? Wes, you bring up Bobby Ewing. Somebody brings up Bobby Ewing.
I
all
do.
the time.
Stop.
You do. You got to Bobby Ewing this stuff. And I mean, I'm old enough to remember that. And it's like, it's very tough to just go from here and then ignore it. But ultimately, we'll be very happy in the end.
Yeah. I actually,
or
think
else you
they're
get a
gonna
one
Bobby
last
Ewing.
day thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think that with his crazy thing, his dad Rabin and that math nonsense or whatever, I do think that they are going to eventually Bobby Ewing it. He'll just end up doing some sort of experiment deal, and then everything will be forgotten. So that's what I think will happen.
And then
Somebody's asking, this is MJ's new lover that she dropped Peter for, and he's a complete waste of space. And it's nice to see that everyone's trashing
the thing is, you can't even say
comics.
lover, because at one point they even said they never really did any. It's very odd. It's so odd.
And
He's just the worst. Like, it just every time you read him, you cringe and you just hate him.
Yeah.
He's just like one of those. He's got like a slappable face.
A
Like
man
every time
bun.
you see him, even though he's drawn differently.
He
every
makes
time.
Tom Taylor look likable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's the type that would do like fake Q&As with him on the internet, like, and just so he could give pithy responses. He's that level of simp.
Absolutely. Paul must go. Next up, Lade Kramer. Doc was denied the honor of getting to read Gotham City Sirens #4, but Jim got to. What are your thoughts on Gotham City Sirens #4, Jim?
It was awful. It was awful. That it was one of the worst mini stories, anything that I've ever read. There was basically a stupid premise that Leah Williams forgot about and then made it stupider. And it just the worst thing in it, I would suggest people read it for a laugh, though, because there are some parts in it that are hilariously stupid and dumb, like just MacGuffins that come out of nowhere that make no sense, then are forgotten, and then twisted to something else to then end up at the end. I don't know what the hell happened in that story, really, but it made me giggle. So Doc would have lost his mind. It's that bad. It's so bad.
Oh, yeah.
So bad.
Look, there is a 0% chance that I would read Gotham City Sirens without being forced to do so.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when you read it, you actually have to like crack the code with the Rosetta Stone to actually kind of figure out. And there's things that Leah Williams seems to want to reference, but then doesn't know it, and then makes it something else. And then it's so bad. It's just so bad. At one point at the end, I think she was going with almost like a Soylent Green type of thing to go in, which would have made sense because of Poison Ivy, but then she doesn't. But then it is. It's bad.
I believe I'm going to do a review on Tuesday. It actually set it all up, and I'm going to get to it probably next week. So
nice. Dumb Bunny. Yeah, Dumb Bunny's.
Dumb Bunny.
It's so bad. So bad. She doesn't get the characters like power sets, then ends up basically too. If you like the characters, they're all straight up murderers by the end of this. Everybody's murdering everybody. They're calling each other, sluts and whores, and that's specific right in the dialogue. And I don't get it. I don't get how it was greenlit at all.
I tell you what, it sold very well for me.
boom.
The covers look
My
really
favorite
cool.
book this week.
Yeah, the covers are really good. And I think that what people end up doing is they're going to think Gotham City Sirens, that's a pretty cool deal. It'll be fun. You have those characters. But when you read it, it might set that franchise back, a bunch of years because it's really bad.
Well, the thing is next week, one of the pocket books is coming out that DC does, which I think we're going to be talking about, and it's Gotham City Sirens.
Yeah, so hopefully people are like, well, I'll get that despite this.
They'll say Paul Dini and Guillaume March are a little bit different. Than
a little bit. She does things that are so mind-boggling. She does something you think is setting something up, and it just disappears. It's so bad.
That's
Caleb says,
right.
It's true. Caleb says Sonic 3 is going to do well. Shadow is voiced by Keanu Reeves, which was fantastic since the first movie. And I must admit, Sparrow, I will definitely be seeing Sonic 3 because my oldest son and my middle son love the freaking franchise.
I have not seen Sonic 1 or 2, but I saw the trailer for Sonic 3 and I was like, this looks freaking epic. This looks like the most epic movie that's going to come out this year. Like, I am totally invested in this story and these characters just from this trailer. It's a great trailer. I think I'm going to have to watch Sonic 1 and 2 in preparation and go support 3 in the theater.
Look, Sonic is at least the first movie. The second movie, I was like, it's not as good. The first movie is a very solid, good, fun movie. It was similar to the way that Deadpool was in that first movie. Was just, you just hit all of the right beats. I'm not the biggest fan of moving, video game characters into our world, but it wasn't poorly done.
I had a better idea than the Garbage Pail Kids, that's for sure.
Hey, that's an epic.
Remember that movie?
How dare you?
I do remember that.
Dylan, did you like Sonic 1 and 2?
I have not seen either of them.
You're the demographic.
Well, I think I'm a little old for the demographic.
Oh.
I'm amazed that kids still know Sonic. And I mean, this was before the movies. But at the comic store, if a kid really isn't, he comes in with the parent and he's not really into comics, but they're trying to get him into something, Sonic's the way to go, all the way.
Absolutely. Calvin says, the only thing I can recommend is the show Legend of Vox Machina. I was going to recommend it years ago, but with Rings of Power, it seems right now.
That's
I haven't watched the Legend of Vox Machina.
It's all right. I saw an episode. I'm just not really in. What was it? Critical Role? Is that the name of the people that got together and gamed on Twitch and stuff like that? And I think Legend of Vox Machina is from that.
I read Ex Machina.
No, that's a different
Ex
one.
Machina.
Ex Machina.
That was pretty good. It was pretty good. Doc hates that movie for no reason. I don't know. Would you recommend that one, Aaron? You're the Vox Machina guy, right?
I don't know anything about Vox Machina except I have some of the action figures. When they showed up at Ross, I was like, these are neat, and I picked them up. But
well, Calb says if you're interested, he sent you and I a 3-minute clip in your DMs to check out.
Yeah, I'm certainly willing to check it out. It looks cool.
Very nice. I'll check it out. We'll see what happens. Lade says, just avoid the 1/6 scale figures. You'll be doomed. That's not your size, right? Right, Aaron? You can't handle a 12. You can only handle 6.
I'm not going to comment in any way that's going to let you clip it. No, I mean I prefer 6-inch scale. Obviously, they just make so much more stuff from so many different lines that's kind of compatible. And for my collecting dollar, I kind of like the idea of everything being together in one universe and like you can cross it over. It's why I wasn't like too interested in the 6-inch Star Wars stuff. I bought some of it, but I didn't army build anything before I started disliking Star Wars. Simply because there's never a time when I'm going to be like, it'd be cool is Stormtroopers versus the Marvel Universe. The Empire's going to get their ass kicked. So everything has to kind of be be you got to have your 6-inch He-Man figures along with your 6-inch
You're saying
Marvel
Darth
figures,
Vader don't have a chance against the Marvel Universe?
Yeah,
really.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
God.
Really?
He's such a
That is
low
one of the
level
dumbest
of power.
takes I've ever heard.
He's such a low level of power compared to most of the characters in the Marvel universe.
I don't know, but that Jason Aaron one when he did Vader down, that dude was taking down ships and like crazy. It was awesome.
It was great in the Star Wars universe, but in the Marvel universe, that's just
he's gonna come down and take all our space stations.
Xavier would smack him in a half a second.
Yeah,
He would
think
launch
get
Xavier
through-
through cyber.
You think Xavier can get through that helmet? Are you crazy?
Exactly.
Hulk,
Yes, he
oh, yeah,
can.
that's right. That's cortosis, baby.
This
It
is fucking
blocks lightsabers and it
dumbest
blocks
shit I've ever
mental,
heard.
no,
Dylan,
come on. The Hulk would
man.
just
You know
throw
what I'm
Darth.
saying, right?
Oh,
The Hulk
yeah.
would throw
Especially
Darth Vader
Comic
into the
Vader.
sun.
Comic Vader would. Comic Vader could take on a lot of guys. I get it if it's movie
He's a
Vader.
Thanos level threat.
Mhm.
He's up
Sure,
there.
I agree.
No,
You'd fuck up Captain America, and I love Captain America.
Mm.
no.
Yeah, what's
Vader
that
would
Captain
shield
America-
you
gonna
wouldn't even
do?
have to touch him.
Captain
You'd
America
still own
finds
him.
a way, baby.
If you sit there talking about I can do this all day as he's getting his ass whooped and mountains
Kitty
thrown on top of him.
Pride would just phase through him and he'd fucking die.
Mhm.
He'd send her into a bullet into the abyss of space.
Not only that, he'd stop her
forever.
heart before she had a
Exactly.
chance.
Not when
to
she's
consume.
intangible.
Now when she's
Good luck.
intangible, he can't. The Force isn't.
You
gonna
don't know how
do
the
that.
Force works with
Are you
intangibility,
kidding me?
Doc.
The Force
It's
can't
never been
touch
established.
intangibility?
You know what I
Exactly.
love is I love that this is the nerdiest thing that's ever happened on this nerd show. It's us like arguing Darth Vader versus various Marvel characters. Doctor Doom would kick his ass.
Wow. Well, he has magic though, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's
Doctor Doom would be Darth Vader's fucking apprentice.
But I don't think Dr.
Let's be
Doom's
real here.
magic, like, he's not, he always wants to be, Sorcerer Supreme, but, I guess that's going to happen, at least in like one of those Spider-Man issues.
Yeah,
Um,
Galactus would
yeah.
end up as the herald of fucking Darth Vader by the end of it. That's what Darth Vader is. Okay.
Well, do you
Know
remember?
about
Do you
that.
remember when the idea that Doctor Doom was one of the potentials for Sorcerer Supreme had so much promise, and now they're actually going to do it, but because it's current day Marvel, you're like, there's no excitement to the idea anymore. Like
I
back in
think
the
it's
day
also
when you
gonna
read
be
that.
alternate shit, so, how much does that really, how much water does that hold, really?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Well, I mean, I've never really been a big Elseworlds or What If guy for those reasons. And I know there's a lot of people that love those books, and I'm not really bagging on them or anything like that, but I'm really more into continuity than I am. Like, why am I reading Superman if it's not continuity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Sorry.
Why are you trashing Wolverine Revenge like this? We already got in trouble for it.
Aliens, Avengers, Yeah.
Jack Halsey says, this upcoming DC reset seems different to me than others in the past. Like there's a lot riding on this one as a company. Am I seeing too much into this? Does their plan seem good? Let's throw it over to you. He's the retailer. He knows stuff behind the scenes. What do you think of the plan for All In and the Absolute Universe and the big changes going on with Darkseid?
So I'm going to speak mainly as my story. Like I have some people, they'll buy anything superhero. Okay. So, I know what to expect from those people. But I feel like DC is a real hard sell anyway. And it always kind of sort of is. They had those Oldsmobile commercials back in my day, and they would say it's not your grandfather's Oldsmobile anymore. And they're trying to like hip themselves up. And I feel like DC's always been that way ever since I was a kid. The older readers read DC. They like Plastic Man. They like Hawkman, that type of stuff. But
I like Plastic Man and Hawkman. What do you think?
I'm just saying, a lot of people would always poo-poo DC. You have your Marvel Zombies, and then you have your Distinguished Competition and all that stuff, and then almost nobody reads Independence, right? So this is I don't know, man. It's a hard sell. I'm kind of excited. The whole idea of two universes that are gonna probably make up some sort of cataclysmic story, maybe a crisis later on. I don't know if I'm that excited about what's going to happen, but I'm kind of curious as to how it's going to be. So, I'm going to look at those books, but it's also a good dropping off point, and I've seen customers say stuff like that too. Boom.
My
And,
assumption
I
is that it
understand.
will deliver another outstanding selling Batman book for at least a year or two.
Possibly.
Well, when you say that the characters seem dated, I would counter that that's why they're hiring hip young writer who understands what the kids are into, Scott Snyder. Everything's edgy, everything's cool, everything's metal. He gets it.
99.
Yeah.
2002.
Yeah.
Absolute Batman. My prediction is Absolute Batman. You'll get a good year of sales out of it, just from kind of like general interest before it falls off. I think that Superman and Wonder Woman will do better than the regular titles at first, but I suspect there's going to be a rapid drop off, and I don't think that any of these books hit the projections that they were hoping for. That's my bold prediction. If I'm wrong, we will see, but that's what I think.
And Jim Lee will keep on trucking on.
That's right. He will keep on doodling and keep on showing up on the red carpet and keep on fiddling while DC burns.
That's right.
Well, we got the retailer perspective. Now let's get the fan perspective. Do you think there's a lot riding on this, Dylan, as a primarily DC-driven reader?
Not really. I think all in is just something they say. I don't think they're actually all in with it. I don't think that's I think it's just another
It's
event
Future
for
State
DC.
all over again?
Yeah, I think it's just another event like I do every
Dawn of
now and
DC?
again. Yep, and it's the Absolute just feels like Earth 1, just with a bit more emphasis behind it, but I don't think in actuality they're actually going all in with it. And I don't think there's a whole lot riding on it. And I was kind of disappointed when all the announcements happened, but hopefully there's some cool stuff we get out of it. But as of right now, I'm not super hyped.
But you're going to be there for Absolute Superman, I assume, and Absolute Flash.
Definitely Absolute Flash. I'll check out Absolute Superman. I'm not super excited for it. Everything I've heard about it has kind of turned me off of it, but I'll check out the first issue just to see how it is.
Oh, Dylan, you're not prepared.
But you're not,
even with everything you've heard, you're not prepared.
You're not committing anything past one issue, though.
Yeah, no, there's nothing that Absolute Flash is like the only one out of the Absolute books that I'm actually really excited for. And that's just because I love Jeff Lemire, and him writing Wally West sounds really fun.
I'm with you. Whatever happened to Barry Allen? Didn't they stick him on the moon to monitor the Dark Multiverse and then he never came back?
I thought that was Nick Fury. Just joking. That's another.
But he's back in Wolverine Revenge.
He was part of that group, the Totality, that ended up having Vandal
Savage
and
villains,
and that got forgotten.
Talia was on there. I think
a lot of stuff. Yep, Talia was on there. A lot of things. That's like a Joshua Williamson thing, I think, when it was the Infinite Frontier, and a lot of his stuff ends up getting forgotten or morphed into something else. But that thing,
Infinite Frontier.
Yeah,
I meant to say that, not Future State, because it's already been forgotten.
Well, then that's the thing. You have Infinite Frontier, then you have Dawn of DC, and each time I tried to, tell people, no, this will be cool. Just relax. It's not a reboot. It's kind of a thing. There's too many of them now. It just people see these new titles and new logo imprints and stuff like that, and they just shake their head because there's too many in a row that end up doing nothing.
So, with your DC friends and other fans there, Dylan, are they piqued of their interest on these titles?
I've seen some people be interested in Batman, but that's basically it. That's the only one that I've heard anyone in my sphere talking about is Batman. I haven't seen anyone else excited about really any of the other books, but I have seen some interest in Batman.
There you go. That's kind of what I've been seeing. So I do think Batman will do very, very well in spite of itself. So we'll see what happens there. Lade says they should have named Gotham City Sirens Dumb Bunny Rises, the miniseries.
Dumb Bunny. When that's the best thing in the series, you're really hurting, and it probably was, and didn't make any sense, and it was
that special cover was the best thing.
Well, that's the thing. I'm telling you, the covers were crazy.
I love that new style.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it has the Dawn of DC imprint on it, which kind of at this point seemed a little odd, but yeah, whatever. I think they tried to get that out right before they were all in because it was so bad. They just wanted to shove it out.
Well,
right
weren't they internet issues also? Gotham City.
I
think they're. No, I'm not sure, but I think they might have been, and it's just that's why it's collected that way.
Yeah, Leah Williams and that and Power Girl. Even though Power Girl this week was probably the best issue because she didn't do much with it. So, but she's probably the worst writer at DC right now.
There was that one punchy issue during House of Brainiac, and I'm like, oh. I didn't hate this one.
Yeah,
it's like a little bit of relationship, and then she was just punching logos and stuff.
And again, remember,
right, I can damn that.
She has the America Chavez punch the star portal thing, like that. Really was something everybody loved, and she put it up. Reading minds at points.
Should be a boob portal where like her titties just like go out there and you fly towards the
Yeah,
cleavage.
That's what
and
I
you
do.
go to another multiverse.
Sounds like a dream.
Yeah, that would be Earth 69. Yeah.
That sounds like something that would happen in Jesse Snyder's comic book. That's on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or something right now.
Finally, Wayne Tech 10. DC heroes aren't dated; they're timeless. But if they can't get the Prime universe right, why would I come along for an Elseworlds universe?
Amen.
$5 well spent right there.
That is the big question, isn't it?
I don't disagree. I mean, the thing is though that when they're selling all in the preview book, they're saying that it's two distinct universes, that are going to make like one big story. So it's like, all right, that's intriguing. I mean, what are they going to do? How is it going to play out? But, how many titles are going to get added on afterwards? And how much am I going to actually believe that there's like a unique view of something in the end?
And the thing is, I think that Dylan kind of hit the nail on the head. I think that a lot of people are just going to go with the creators they like, not actually the stories or what I mean, or some characters. But I think it's going to be more people only get excited for the books that they enjoy the creators. And I don't know that like a Kelly Thompson is going to do the deal there, but who knows?
If you can't do Scarlet White, right? Why do I think you can do Wonder Woman? That's my question.
Or Birds of Prey, right? Or everything.
Book in the world.
Yeah.
Can't even get the Arashikage clan right, Dylan. How do you mess up that concept?
Especially when it's so cool. I don't know why they trusted her with that.
But that has to be more. That has to be more editorial or Kirkman's like decree, right? Don't you think? Like they're making their own Transformers GI Joe universe, so.
I
don't
think so. I think
you think she just like, oh, I'm going to do whatever I want. And
no. I'm sure
like,
it came down from Abernathy, the group editor guy that they brought over from DC. That was the Batman guy.
Right.
I think that it's more along the lines of.
I don't think she ever heard of the Arashikage clan.
A bunch of
definitely
a bunch of fucking nerds that don't know how to tell a woman no.
She never tweeted anything about G.I. Joe until she got the gig. There was never any fandom there. At least when I wrote my Yuri Han story for Udon, you can go back through my tweets and go like, oh, Aaron really loves Street Fighter. Aaron really loves Yuri Han. You can see that I appreciate the character and that my knowledge of the character was there. Not so with Kelly Thompson. She just gets handed assignments because she's the woman.
Yeah,
she's the current woman.
That
will be replaced by another current woman.
She's the current woman that's not the worst woman.
We made the point. It's time to actually get to the show because we do have an absolute Batman logo that's causing memes and hysteria nationwide. And it's big, it's bulky, it's not shaped like a bat. It's a rectangle with some spikes on it, and it takes up his entire chest. It turns out it's actually the head of an axe that he can like stick a rod in and have like a battle axe or something like this. Dylan, as a younger fan that likes a more edgy, absolute style universe, is the logo doing it for you?
I'm gonna reject that label first. I don't like an edgy universe. But the logo looks dumb as hell, but I don't mind it that much. Like it's not like, oh man, I'm not gonna read this comic because the logo looks retarded. I don't really care. It's fine. It is what it is. It has gotten people talking. I've seen it all over my Twitter feed. A bunch of random people just talking all about it, memes about it. So at least there's people talking about an Absolute book, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it looks interesting. I thought it was like a giant hammer he was making with it. But yeah, it looks kind of dumb, but they explained it like protects his vitals, and that's why it's just so humongous. So there's that. But yeah, it looks all right. I don't know. It looks dumb, but it's not a big turnoff for me. It's not something that I'm very upset about. Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see like a big dumb idiot muscled Batman just beating people up. I'm like, that could be fun, assuming they don't screw it up. So.
I think that's kind of what I think that he's just a big dummy and he just and also remember he doesn't have the money in this and all that other stuff. So he's just getting a piece of iron and pounding it out and putting it on his chest like a dummy. I don't mind that either. I think that might be kind of a cool play. But I can see why people don't like the logo, but like you said, it's getting people talking. I loved some of the tweets where people are yelling at James Gunn about it because either I'm like, what? And I think they actually thought these were like concept photos or pictures for a movie or something, because why would you yell at James Gunn about it? But it was very odd.
Yeah, did you see the Spider-Man fan art someone made where they like it's Uncle Ben's coffin?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like I don't like it, but I think it's I dig the art. I know I saw a lot of people not
Art
like
looks great.
Jagoda's work, in the previews, but he always captivates me as an illustrator. And even though I'm not the biggest Bat fan, I think overall this looks like it could be pretty cool. It's whether or not Scott Snyder can, I mean, Dylan, you got that poster in the back, which came from a Scott Snyder detective, I think, and it's like those were the good days.
Yeah,
I just
Grayson was Batman.
I just want Batman World's Dumbest Detective.
All right. Hey, you know what?
it.
And he's always just like jumping the gun and trying to get
And
people
just-
to like confess.
He's going to be public domain in a few years, Doc. We can make that happen.
he just goes and just hits everyone. He has no plan.
That's what he does. He's like, I see these, fingerprints. I'm gonna go punch somebody. Punching him out.
What are these?
What are these?
Yeah, that's where it needs to go with this. Like he's not the world's greatest detective.
That would be good.
He's literally just some fucking idiot.
Big
Isn't that the whole like premise of Pete Holmes' version of Batman though? And they're like, "You killed that man." He's like, "No, I see what you think it is. When criminals fight me, I'm so good they get tired and they fall asleep."
He's sleeping.
It's like, and then they start talking about his goldfish that and he's like, "You did the same thing to your goldfish that you did to these men," and Batman's like, "I overfed these men." By the way, how stupid are goldfish that they will just eat until they die?
Yeah, pretty bad.
What a way to go.
But yeah, just this dumb motherfucking brute that just keeps smashing on people. He somehow stumbled his way. It's like Punisher with the War Machine armor, where he just fucking beats the ever-loving piss out of everyone. And you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Doc,
I think that could be a lot
let's
of
do
fun.
this. Let's do this in Doomface. I think we can make this happen.
World's dumbest detective.
Yeah, Batman just solving every problem with violence
Yeah.
I think could be very interesting. And he looks that one panel where he's using the stilts looks so funny. Where he's like hunched over using the stilts.
It's
and it
so
looks hilarious,
dumb.
and
It's
he's
so
so
dumb.
humongous. Like if they play into that, it could be fun. Like
could
you know,
be
Batman's always a mind over matter guy, but if
Yeah.
you get like the opposite, if he's all like muscle over mind,
That'd be great.
that could be that could be
Walking
cool.
around
don't
on
know.
his stilts.
I don't know how funny Scott Snyder is, but maybe. Because like there's a guy there, Batman punches him, he knocks teeth out, then he looks at the teeth, says that's the clue, and then punches the guy out again because it was his teeth.
Makes more clues.
It's you. That'd be good.
What do you think about the other designs? Like, Wonder Woman on that steed, she has this like arm tattoo, like full
Tribal.
sleeve. Almost not full sleeve. but,
Cloud sword?
Yeah.
I want to know how somebody was able to tattoo Wonder Woman.
She's from
Oh,
the
they got
underworld.
inked on
It's her
Amazon.
own prison tattoo, Doc.
They use
Yeah.
the purple ray on Amazon Island.
No,
No,
there's
I'm
nothing
on
that's here.
Island
She's
here,
from the
yeah.
underworld. She's like from Hades or
Oh,
something.
see, I didn't even realize. Oh,
I actually like the design of the Wonder Woman. I thought that looked
Yeah.
kind of cool, but
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like the
like
new
a
52
different
Wonder
take of
Woman with a
52,
big
yeah.
ass sword.
yeah, every time they try to redesign Wonder
Sure.
Woman, they do add like, this gauntlet, this sword that they go so over the top. So
Yeah.
it kind of looks kind of like that anyway.
and as
be
long as
honest,
she doesn't have to use a lasso, that's the
The
important.
look and the premise behind Wonder Woman, I think, is the best one out of all the absolute
Mhm.
stuff. Her is going out there and fighting demons from the old underworld to return them and finding artifacts that could be dangerous if revealed by the wrong person, like a Laura Croft type of
Oh
character.
yeah,
would be
yeah, that's
fun.
right.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best concept, but they gave it to the worst possible person to execute it.
Yeah.
Well, not the worst possible. We
Well,
didn't
that's
say
a-
Leah
yeah.
Williams.
Leave
That's
still
Ayala.
out there.
No,
We
okay,
didn't
you know what? the best of the worst. And by the way, like just chat so you know, we're certainly not disparaging the idea of women writers. There's obviously a lot of talented female creators out there. It's just unfortunately they're not the ones that are getting hired at Marvel and DC by and large. If you guys want to read something that's by a great female creator, go check out Fiendish.
Absolutely.
Go women.
We love the women.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they have G. Willow Wilson doing other stuff for them. This would be a much better project for her than some of the other than Leah Williams or than Kelly Thompson. I mean, and
what's the difference?
So, the difference is G. Willow Wilson has actually done things that are
different. I meant between
I'm sorry,
Thompson and
the only thing that I'd be with G. Willow Wilson did a short run on Wonder Woman. It wasn't great, but I think that this is more of a set universe that has that MO that she might be able to go with.
I mean, isn't there somebody in? The problem is that good writers are doing things that aren't comic books usually, and if you want some, I mean, you still got to find them. And they have to be able to do a comic book, but they're putting the wrong people on the job. Is what.
It's kind of like marketing for comics. If you're any good at it, you're not working in comics,
right?
That's the way it is for a lot of the female writers right now. If you're any good as a female writer, you're not working in comics.
Right.
Well, that's not true. You're out doing YA graphic novels, or you're doing more.
That's the thing. Yeah. Diamond Shipping. They used to. They're all in Tennessee, Nashville. It's a big shipping hub, and they can't pay their people like an Amazon that's next door. So once those people get the training, they go and get their good job or the other places. And I feel like that's very much like. People writing in comics. There's a few people that stick around, come back, kind of slum, and then they go and do either they're doing their own stuff or they're doing stuff outside of comic books.
The people who stick around in comics are the people who genuinely love creating comics.
Sure.
Or just the people that can't get work anywhere else. But it's a good mix of the two.
Well, I probably always was.
I consider like Brian Hill. He's one of those guys. He sticks around in comics because he genuinely loves comics. But when he actually wants, money, he goes and works in Hollywood.
Yeah. You go write for video games, or you do, some animation, or you do, you work on a screenplay, or you do script polishing. There's all kinds of things that you can do as a writer that kind of like supplement your income so that you can dabble in comics.
Yeah. But so we've got this Ultimate Batman logo. Have you heard any feedback or pushback from the customers, Uel? Are they making fun of it, or is it just a social media thing?
I think it's mostly. I think the people that are excited about it don't have a problem with it, and then everybody else doesn't probably even pay attention. Is pretty much what I've seen. Maybe I'll get the first issue, that type of thing.
I don't think the logo's a deal breaker, but it is funny because it's so big and it's like a brick.
Well, we're talking about how stupid that we would love this guy to be, and already that.
Well, he looks quite dumb, especially when you just show him standing up. He's just kind of dumpy.
We want to
make the Elephant Man or something.
He looks like a big oaf.
Yeah.
It seems. I mean, we're all being very tongue-in-cheek or hoping it's going to be more of a tongue-in-cheek comic book, and I think that would be bad. But for us being amused, I think it would be very good.
I think that Scott Snyder is going to treat it with total sincerity, but I think there is a chance because Scott Snyder's sensibilities are so about what's cool are so skewed and so stuck in a very specific kind of edgelord mindset that he's trying to do, that it could be unintentionally hilarious. Like it could be the best thing he's ever written unintentionally.
And he'll hate it because he'll be really mad that we like it for all the reasons that we do.
It'd be like Tommy Wiseau's initial reaction to people's reaction to The Room.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And be like, no, that's not what I was doing. We're like, we don't care. We love this because of how terrible it is.
It's a big goof. You meant this to be serious, but it's a big goof, and just accept the way that we love it.
Yeah. I mean, we want Batman, world's dumbest detective.
So Batman.
That's the thing. He's not a
Wonder Woman are
detective.
gonna be
He's an
great.
engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the bat symbol comes off and it forms a battle axe when he puts it on a little stick.
Nice.
And he's got a nice little waffle maker on his chest so he can make some breakfast. He's gonna have all kinds of gadgets. He's gonna walk around on the stilt cape. It's gonna be like Doc Ock's arms. It's gonna be prehensile. It's gonna do stuff. He's gonna take his ears off and he's gonna be able to make it's gonna be that. He's gonna be Scalp Hunter. Oh, I'm sorry, Grey Crow. But in the DC universe, that's what we're gonna get.
He pulls an ear off and like picks a lock. Everything's functional.
Yeah, or he pulls an ear off and he can use it as a fork. Like, what was the old line from The Simpsons? I drew his utility belt. This is where he keeps his change in case he needs to ride the bus.
Dan Klaus.
The Superman logo, otherwise, I think looks really good, Dylan. The cape and everything kind of looks stupid, but that logo is nice where it's got like the cursive like S to it.
Yeah, the logo looks good. It looks better than the live action logo we're getting. But I hate that haircut. I can't get past the haircut for Absolute Superman. I hate it. I hate that hair so much.
If
Talk
you
about,
look,
like,
Dylan, at
old
some of
school
the
edgy, I hate it.
If you look at some of the pages that we did for Kneel Before Doomface in the coffee shop, the barista has Absolute Superman's hair.
I guess that makes sense. It is barista hair. That hair. I don't know who
But
thought
does he
that.
have lava boots?
Yeah, that represent like the screams of his people or whatever. That's so stupid. That
When I
cape
think
thing.
Clark Kent, I think the man to play Superman is clearly Tony Khan.
But like talking about Snyder being
Tony
like
Khan.
stuck in like the past with like rock and like edgy stuff. That's why I feel like with this Superman, with like the his cape represents like the screams and like the pain of his people. He's got the edgy looking hair. Like it feels like a book, like a comic out of 2005 or something.
The S stands for slave or servant or
I don't know, but just having hair, I'm very jealous, and that is a Superman. Okay?
Would you have preferred a
Right.
bald Superman?
No.
Make
full
him
head of hair is something
I'm surprised we're
dream
not
of
getting
still.
that. Since everything is just like the edgy thing, like Batman's not rich because we're just going to do the opposite, and that's going to be absolute. I'm surprised it's not Lex Luthor or Superman.
Well, the last time they tried to make him edgy with Superman Truth during the New 52, they gave him a buzz cut. That was when they tried to make him edgy. They took away his powers. He rode a motorcycle, had a buzz cut, wore a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah,
That was the last time they tried to make him real edgy.
he was the
That's it,
everyman.
That was so stupid. And he his torn up cape he wore on his knuckles. That was Superman Truth was so dumb.
It's like one of those things where it's like he melted the S down and he made him brass knuckles. It's like that's the kind of like the shit that you get in these edgy reboots.
Who doesn't want Superman with knuckle dusters?
Yeah.
everyone over the age of 14.
They all have it symbol.
And everyone
on
under the
knuckle.
age
Yeah,
of
dude, when he punches you, it's like on your
It leaves
chest.
the
It'd be
ass.
like
Yeah, no,
even
it's
stamped.
Yeah, he brands you like Ben Affleck Batman because that was such a good idea.
Maybe just one finger, and it's just like bam, right in the middle, and you're like, oh.
Haven't we
That's
got
the
enough
noise he
edgy
made.
Batman though at this point?
We had enough edgy Batman 15 years ago.
I would love
It's
a
a
Batman
long
that was a
edgy.
detective again.
The worst detective.
Worst detective.
Worst detective.
Well, who's taking over on oh shit, is that Tom Taylor taking over on Detective?
He is a
Yeah,
detective.
yeah.
Okay, so never mind. That's where he'll be the worst detective because Tom Taylor's fucking retarded.
No, he's going back in time and he's going to
Yeah.
add a new element to the original Crime on Crime Alley.
Yep.
That changes everything we knew about Batman.
Oh,
Well, you know, they were,
Oh,
it was
so-
solid.
Oh, wait, hold on. So Jason Aaron gave him his climax for Batman Off-World.
Yeah, we're gonna find out that
Aw.
Joe Chill was trying to kill Dick Grayson all along. That's what we'll find.
Well, actually, the father was trying to kill a homeless man because he was an a-hole.
And
the
also
homeless
he
man
was-
was just fighting back.
He had 7 other kids with other ladies, and, all this stuff.
yeah,
If
he's
Batman's
gonna have
gonna-
some secret sisters.
If Batman's gonna go back in time, can he at least save Alfred? Can we at least get Alfred back?
That'd be nice.
We're getting Alfred in Absolute Batman.
Nobody cares about
No,
Absolute
actually,
Batman.
I thought they said no Butler, so maybe
He's
He's
not
not going to be a
gonna
butler. He's going to be Alfred, the super spy.
yeah.
That's
MI6
that's
Alfred.
using Bruce to get to the Black Mask.
Am I sex, Alfred?
And Joker's going to be a Wall Street guy.
Because why not?
Well, I mean, that's the inversion,
Well,
right? That's what
that's
the
the
inversion that you got to
dichotomy,
do is, yeah, it's like, okay, so Batman's poor, so Joker's got to be rich. And what's the most obvious thing that you can do? Make him some Wall Street robber baron.
I just hope Batman has like a gigantic, oversized magnifying glass. We're doing the whole world's dumbest detective.
But it's got other magnifying glasses that come in, so he can get different levels of magnification because
it's got like a knife at the end of it. He has to be able to use to attack people.
And he changes out the picture, and he's like, "This looks like dinosaurs." And like, nope, that's a race car.
It's a what do you call it? A
the viewfinder.
That's the old tick bit.
This is an entire episode of when Mickey, Goofy, and Donald went to a haunted house.
I knew it. Looney Tunes did this. Let's go get him.
The mastermind is Mickey Mouse.
It'll be fun. We'll have a little go with it. But he's not the world's greatest detective. He's going to be the world's greatest engineer. Everything will be functional.
Yeah.
Can he fill the potholes on my street? Because that'd be nice.
He probably caused the potholes on your street with those weird feet that he's got. They're like elephant feet. You know what I mean? They look like they're
not going to
circular.
know that he's Batman. You're like, oh my god, this 8-foot guy that's like 8 feet wide. He kind of looks like Jerry.
I saw this guy that resembled
Jerry. Are
Andre
you
the
Batman?
Giant at Walmart. And then,
I'm not Batman.
Like, look, Seth Green can put on all the masks he wants to walk around Comic-Con. I still know it's Seth Green because he's like 4'8". I'm like, oh, there's Seth Green.
He's going to be a big bad man. The size might hold him back. Could be interesting.
He's definitely not going to be able to get into those hard to reach areas. If he's chasing a skinny criminal, he better have some cool engineering to get around things because like I'm sure he's going to be walking on his stilt cape up walls and stuff. But...
Oh no, he'll turn into Gizmo Duck.
See, that would be cool.
I thought Kool-Aid Man.
Let's go right through.
Yeah.
No, you know what would be great? Is a criminal runs through a little narrow space and Batman can't follow, but then he fires off two sides of himself and he's a smaller bat missile that goes through.
like the Batmobile in fucking the second the
Batman Returns. Yeah, the most specific type of modification. Like, how many situations is this useful in?
One. But I'm gonna make sure that it happens in this movie.
I want to see him play homage to Jurassic Park, where the guys are like driving a Jeep and they look in the rear view and there's Batman like running after him like a fucking T-Rex.
Objects are closer than they appear, but he's got to be on his stilts. He's got to be on the stilts. I don't know about you, but every time I've been in a fight, I've thought to myself, if only I had some stilts, I could be so much more effective right now.
Higher ground is always important when fighting.
That's right. I have the high ground. Don't try it.
You have like a little cup of water and like some little perfect cylinders go through. Like, oh fuck, Batman's coming. He don't sneak up on you anymore.
Dude is huge.
Absolutely enormous. We shall see. I'm excited about Nick Dragotta. That's the one thing I'm super excited for about this, Uel, because I love Nick Dragotta and he deserves a big break.
Yeah, I agree. It should look really good. Scott Snyder, he's not always been good, but he has written some very, very, not even Batman, but he's written some really good Batman. I really liked his Severed, which was a miniseries from Image. I can't think of a whole lot of other things, but he could pull this one out. It's his character, that
he's got a good Swamp Thing.
Yeah, his Swamp Thing was really good. Working with Jeff Lemire on that crossover with Animal Man, that stuff was really good. He's definitely a top tier talent. He just, can he come back? That's really what it is. Can he come back and can he make this good?
The thing that I wish that he was maybe writing Wonder Woman and changing it up a bit. I know that, people are going to say, oh my God, I have to read Scott Snyder Batman and that, but Batman would have sold anyway. And then kind of, elevate, say, a Wonder Woman that he hasn't done much of. And that might have been kind of a cool play, and then get somebody big on Batman. And I think it's a stronger deal.
Yeah, switch Kelly Thompson over that one.
Yeah, that'd be great. Leah Williams.
Yeah, give Kelly Thompson Batman. Sure, that's gonna.
Well, I'll tell you what,
gangbusters.
So it would
Kelly
sell.
Thompson can't make Batman sell. You gotta shit can her immediately.
Yeah.
And they'll never do that.
No, because then they'd have to tell her no.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, we can't ever hire you again.
So you already did the orders for Absolute, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you go through the roof, or did you order just like the same amount as Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman?
No, I doubled my orders. I qualified for the $25. So they have this thing. So DC has their thing. Like, if you match your numbers with this book, then you can, for $25, get 25 in a bundle.
Very nice.
If something happens where, I gotta prime the pump a little bit, I might be giving some out. Maybe, to people that wouldn't, if someone only buys Marvel, I give them a DC
you slip it into the bag?
Well, I let them know always up front. Hey, I'm giving you this DC thing so you can know about it.
That's how Doc got suckered into buying Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run.
Yes, it is.
Well, he liked it, didn't you?
I did. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
It ended up being good, and I was kind of.
He said he dropped his Spider-Man pull, and they kept putting it into his bag and letting him have a cup.
That's the best thing of Zeb Wells' run. It actually made Nick Spencer's run better.
Nick Spencer's run wasn't bad.
It was okay. It meandered a bit in the middle, but it was actually pretty good looking back at it.
Yeah,
I think what's that character's name? Gog. I kind of enjoyed.
Yeah,
that.
Gog. Yeah,
that whole bit
about Gog.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite, and I really hated. Who was it with him? Boomerang? Was that who was?
I think, it was Boomerang that was hanging with him. Yeah,
and I didn't really like that, but I started warming up.
I thought it developed pretty good by the end, and also everybody would say, like, it looked like Nick Spencer was trying to get rid of One More Day, and they kind of pulled that back from him, and then it ended. So that was a shame. But
we still got rid of.
Sins of the Past. Yeah. So that was pretty good, and like I said, Boomerang actually by the end kind of really was growing on me, and to compare Boomerang to, say, a Paul and Zeb Wells hanging, it's so much better. But
Boomerang's established. That's the other thing. Paul's thing was that he's just created.
Yeah.
I feel like Kite Man is what Tom King, he would have wished he could have done as well with that stupid character that Nick Spencer did with Boomerang.
Yeah.
If you want a terrible version of Boomerang, read Tom Taylor's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
No, that's a dog shit title.
Yeah.
And I hated it so much that I'm pretty anti Tom Taylor.
That was with Under York and stuff like that, right? That went nowhere. Like
all I know is that he was he had to go and give some homeless dude money. Uncle Ben, it was a big life lesson and shit like that. And
that
it
is
just was like, by the way, couldn't stand it.
Yeah, it was funny because you had that Spider Bite issue in that, I believe, in that it was just a redo of a deal, and everybody loved that, but that was it.
I just read a comic where one of the villains used the term unhoused.
Yeah,
and I was like, because villains are really big on using the PC.
The funny thing, I remember when there was a villain in a what's his name? Freaking Bendis. Bendis did something, and a villain actually said, like, "You stupid," whatever. And people were like, "Oh my god, like, well, he can't say that, whatever." And Brian Michael Bendis said he's a villain.
Yeah,
like he's a piece of crap. That's why he said it, and people went nuts.
If a villain
I remember that.
Yeah,
this may seem harsh to some of the chat, but I believe that everybody involved in that story should be killed.
I believe you might be onto something.
My goodness. All right, let's hear for the peoples. We do have some people chiming in. Kalichioki says, "Forgive me if I sound sexist, but I think it's becoming apparent women can't write. You'll get your J.K. Rowling, Joelle Jones, but these DI hires aren't it." I think there are a lot of talented female writers, but I don't think they're in comic books. I think they're in stuff they want to write.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
Joelle Jones is like as a writer, she's a good artist. I mean, I wouldn't use her
Yes.
as an example, but there are some. I mean, there are some that are above that Leah Williams bottom deal. They just some of them might need more time and a little more. What I think is there's not really many editorial, oversights with them. They're too afraid to say anything and pull things back because there are some decent ones, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we've had many in the industry over the years. We've had your Louise Simonsons, we've had your Ann Necentes, we've had Marjorie Liu. I used to like Christina Z on Witchblade. There's a lot of talented women that come in, but they don't stick around. And I think it's because talented women are a commodity and they have more options.
Yeah,
because
comics.
Guys want to work, guys that are in better industries like video games, like Hollywood, they want to work with more women, so they eventually graduate to that level easier than a lot of
the ones that are left are the ones that just got hired because they're women, and they and they
want to get to Hollywood. They want to get video games, but they don't have the talent.
And they get elevated. Even ones that might have a bit of talent, they don't ever have to at points, do their due. They end up getting elevated. Like suddenly they're on Wonder Woman. That's their second book they've ever written, or things like that. And some of them just need the time to develop, but then they start believing their own hype, and then they get stuck in a rut and things like that.
And then they get snarky. They get snarky with the customers. And then they pretty much sealed their fate.
Yeah. Also, read fantasy novels if you want to read some women writers.
Yeah, there's a really good women writers.
I just picked up a book by a female writer, a Korean female writer. It was on sale at Barnes & Noble, and I read the premise, and I was like, I will gamble the $17 on this book. It was called 5 Broken Blades, and it just seemed like a really cool set. It's set in Korean history, and kind of like playing around with all of that. And the premise just sounded really cool. It's basically about 5 assassins that have to team up to take down the king, but they're all plotting against each other. And I was like, I'm in. Yeah. And I'm a couple chapters in. It's really good so far. Well written.
Yeah. I think Dylan's favorite Star Wars writer is Karen Travis.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah. So they're out there. It's that crazy deal.
They're out there. These women.
Out there.
They're ladies.
They are.
They're doing it. They're not in comic books.
What I want to say to the chat is ladies can do stuff now.
Ladies are good.
And you better get used to it. I know you guys don't speak Spanish.
Again, there could be a woman writer who ends up like she'd have a great Superman story, but instead they're going to put her on,
Power Girl.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other thing.
Because they kind of do that. And
they are limited.
Like, again, Kelly Thompson, not the greatest, but I don't think, as Aaron said, that she knows anything about Scarlet, ever cared about Scarlet, and then she's put on Scarlet. So she's not going to have that oomph in it. She's not going to have the spark. And that's a problem, too, that maybe, and it reminds me of Christopher Priest when they ended up in the New 52 and they wanted him to do, a black character. And he said, I'll do anything, but I'm not going to do that because I don't really want to get stuck in that rut. But the women end up.
Then you get typecast.
Characters, yeah.
I believe what he said, Jim, was, I would do anything for
God damn it, you beat me to it.
I won't do that.
I won't do that.
Are we making him a meatloaf now? Meatloaf's great.
Yes. I love meatloaf. I mean,
I'd love some meatloaf right
meatloaf
now.
sandwich. I'd go right now. I'd love
Absolutely. Andres Hernandez. Thoughts on DC Earth 1 universe from back then? That was like the ultimate universe. Do you think that universe had more potential to be modern universe that was easy to get into than absolute universe?
The problem
I really liked
Earth
1
great,
Green Lantern is
but
great.
they're not really connected. That they want this more connected, but they could have eventually connected the things more in the Earth 1. That some of those were really good.
Just not the Jeff Lemire Titans one. It was garbage.
You couldn't connect. Well, the reason why that wouldn't work is because they can't sell you 6 other comics in order to get you to buy one comic. To understand what's going in the one comic that you actually want to buy, the way that they can with all in absolute whatever it is.
Well, plus they were all graphic novels, I believe, at first, right, Dylan?
Yeah, they were all graphic novels. Yeah, and something I like about Earth 1 too, compared to Absolute was Earth 1 felt a bit more like we have different takes on these characters when I do, instead of we're trying to modernize these characters, which Absolute feels like we're trying to get them up to date because they're, these aren't timeless characters. They're old now, so we're trying to get them up to date. Earth 1 didn't feel like it had that behind it. It was just like, we just have different stuff we want to do with them out of canon.
So do you recommend the Earth 1 Superman?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
There you go. There we go with the Earth One. Wayne Tech 10. Matt Reeves already gave us a dumb Batman.
He kind of did. That fucking Batman was he was marginally above average intelligence.
What are you talking about? When he goes into the car and it's got the little things in the thumb drive, he figured it all out. He's like,
when he walks right up to the bomb and puts his face in it. That was great. When he figures out the crime because a guy just randomly tells him, "Hey, my brother has a tool that picks up carpets," just like that. Oh, thank you, timely citizen. I hate that in movies. I hate that where the entire premise is random guy showed up to tell you that about a thing.
That's how life works, though. I didn't come away from the Batman thinking he was dumb.
Yeah, I didn't think he's dumb either. I thought it was just, he's kind of young and naive. He's early on in it. I didn't think it's like this guy's an idiot. I think it's just like he's really early on in being Batman. He's still trying to figure everything out.
He's barely competent high school graduate. Batman. He is not genius.
No, he's not the world's greatest detective by any means.
Can I answer Sully since the chat will not let me respond? Like it keeps like blocking out my my response.
You've been banned, huh?
I'm in shadow.
Use some curse words.
No, I didn't say anything. All I said was he was talking about IDW and he said that despite all the layoffs, Heather Antos remains. And I said the only way that she's leaving IDW is if A, she gets a better offer that she thinks will give her more Twitter clout, or B, in a body bag after choking on a ham sandwich.
She will survive the heat death of the comic universe.
Oh.
Somehow.
So she's a cockroach.
I blame Richard.
I do. I kind of blame Zach. Yeah.
James Hannafin, thank you very much. Obviously, very generous super chat. I've been collecting since 1991 and own every DC, Vertigo, Milestone, etc. comic from Crisis on Infinite Earths till now. In a few thousand pre-Crisis, 1985 to 2011 was the best DC had to offer. Except for Rebirth, the last 13 years have been a joke.
Largely.
I haven't been laughing.
I'd agree. They really didn't need to do the new 52, and that screwed everything up. I know there was a lot of old timers that were like, "I'm out, see ya," and I'm talking like older than me, old timers. So you lost them. And the people that we did really well on our new 52 to begin with, but what's going to happen. These people that are hot for a Rob Liefeld, Hawk and Dove #1 are not going to be around by issue 4, and stuff like that. And I think Dan Didio fucked a lot of shit up, and he was doing it before the new 52, and they just cannot get their bearings. Everything they try is pretty. Oh, we're moving to the West Coast. Let's stop everything for 2 months and have this other shit. We're gonna have we're gonna reboot our line so that everybody gets excited, and then you have the fear state thing, and this kind of stuff. And that's just those things. We're not even talking. I mean, we've been talking about the talent. I mean, they always have really good looking books.
They have great artists. They've always got the better artists.
I mean, DC's. But they're the most recent thing they did was when they got rid of Mark Chiarello, the art director, and I don't even know if they have one now anymore. And
probably Jim Lee.
I think.
Yeah, even though they look good, you can tell things are just
wrong.
I don't know what to say. That's my $50 worth.
What do you think, Dylan? Is it 85 to 2011? Is that the sweet spot for DC Comics?
Yeah, I'd agree. We had a lot of great stuff, especially right before New 52. We had that Jeff Jones run on Superman, Kurt Busiek. We had a lot of really good stuff. And the New 52 felt like the first domino that got us to where we're at now, which is pretty sad. And there was a lot of really cool stuff. It also messed up a lot of stuff with the Bat family and their ages and that timeline when the New 52 happened. There's so much dumb stuff that happened with the New 52, and we had so much gold prior to that then just got thrown away. And then with Rebirth, they desperately tried to grab it back and be like, no, we're not getting rid of all that. We see that you want it. And then it's like, why did you even get rid of it in the first place? But now we're here.
And that's the thing, you know, people did reinvest back with DC and Rebirth. They believed in it. Maybe not as many people because you did draw some of them off, but they were willing to come back. And then you prove to them once again, you know, within 18 months, we're going to give up on it and go edgelord again. It's like, why do we always have to go edgelord at DC?
Yeah, I don't know who they think wants that.
Because DC has been desperately trying to be Marvel for the last like 50 years.
And 1990s Marvel too.
Yeah, just be DC. You guys have a great brand identity. Just be DC. You know, it's like I think the most recent huge mistake is when they were like, okay, going forward, Doomsday Clock is kind of going to set the foundation for everything. No, wait, that's a little bit late. Look at this shiny Scott Snyder death metal series. That's selling pretty good. Let's base everything on that. Let's do dark side energy and the dark multiverse, and let's just make everything dark and edgy because Scott Snyder's got his finger on the pulse.
And the one problem with New 52, you know, being a reboot and everybody, you know, a lot of people going against it since then. They've tried these soft reboots and tried these soft switches and brand switches and everything.
New 52 was a soft switch also. And you know, they had Flashpoint to lead into it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and when you get it, it's like you just keep adding things and saying promises and things like that. But it's a mess. I mean, it became a complete and utter mess that people didn't even know when to jump in and what to do. And again, a lot of people don't like reboots, but it got so bad at one point that maybe after death metal, they should have just said, let's start over again, get back to the old school stuff. But they didn't. They just added more stuff on top.
So Marvel made the same
Rebirth.
Sorry, Marvel made that same mistake when they had Secret Wars with Hickman. They have a chance to restart everything, and everybody was accepting of it, and they didn't.
Yeah, and after death metal, the big thing was opening up the timeline and having that, but they never really utilized that. They hinted it, and then they go.
Time?
You sound like Robert Plant. They end up with all this. They end up like just ridiculously adding things on and not explaining it. You know, Superman Reborn at the one point, you had to kind of guess at things, and then the whole deal with this, it just became a mess.
What are you saying, Doc?
I was saying, does anybody remember Hyper Time?
Yeah.
Wasn't that going to be the big thing for like...
Where everything exists all minutes? At the same time?
Yeah, like everything happened?
Yeah, that was the deal. That was the
Remember when do you think that's what it's like for God? Do you think God lives within hyper time? Like just everything that ever will happen or has happened just has already
he's omnipotent? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gotta be just something that we can't, but you can't tell a story that way because that is inherently too big a concept for our finite minds to grasp and to execute properly. So it was always gonna fail.
I'm not a good DM.
Yeah.
Focus.
Look, and here's the thing. I mean, DC. I mean, you go back to the 90s, they've been trying to be more like they failed at being Marvel in the 70s when they brought in Kirby. And then they decided, we're going to go back to being ourselves in the 80s. And it worked out very, very well for them, especially with like, you know, some of the Batman stuff, especially when you get into the late 90s or late 80s. Worked out very well for them with Titans and all that other stuff. Yeah, Justice League and Justice League had a little bit of a down period, but Wonder Woman was doing very well. Superman had been kind of reinvigorated until they had to kill him. And then they had to kill Batman. Well, they had to break Batman. But then ever since then, it's them been trying to be Marvel in the 90s because they failed at that. Like they've not given up that same dream. I don't know why. You're 30 years too late for it, but you're going to keep trying to do it. It's like, hey, you know what? When I was 9, I never learned how to break dance. So I am 45. I'm going to keep trying to learn how to break dance. Why?
Yeah.
What do you think that Australian chick can do it? Anybody can.
Is it a worthy collection? Have every single DC book, including Vertigo, Milestone, I'm assuming Wildstorm is in there, that's been published?
Well, not every Vertigo book is good, but
that's still pretty impressive.
This collection's amazing. Regardless of condition, this is an awesome collection. If you have every Milestone book, that's awesome. If you have every Vertigo book, that's pretty amazing too, especially if you're going up you say I've been collecting since 91 and all the way to 2011. So 2011 Vertigo, that's great.
Unfortunately,
No, I think he's got it all the way to today.
To
from
today, yes.
1985.
I'm just thinking of the good years.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that
so
means
he's got
like
all
the
that good
losers, which I agree with. By the way, great car chase in that one. Jock's amazing.
stuff.
You've got Sandman, Preacher, Why the Last Man. You've got all the off DC books that are always better than the main ones, other than Legion in the 80s and Titans in the 80s.
Speaking of things that are,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Doc. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, unfortunately, I think that means you also bought Grant Morrison's Sea Guy.
How dare you? That is
which is the
great
worst
book.
comic in
Oh,
human
you are
history.
wrong. If you read it now,
It is still the worst comic in history.
You're not wrong. You are not right.
It's worse
Are
than
you
Marvel?
kidding me?
Yes.
There's all right. So what was the one with Bobby DaCosta in the miniseries? What was that called? Back in that was garbage.
Fallen Angels.
Oof. Way worse than Sea Guy, and more issues too.
But
US one. Until She-Hulk had him in it, not good.
NFL
there's
Super
a
Pro.
bunch. That's two right there. Say what?
I said NFL Super Pro.
Oh yeah,
Speaking of,
NFL Super Pro.
Speaking of things that are like forgotten, do you guys remember during 0 Hour when a character named Triumph was introduced, who was one of the original Justice League members, but had been lost in time and everybody had forgotten him, and it was going to be a big deal, and then everybody promptly forgot him again?
The appropriate response whenever somebody does Secret Sisters or
they did that with Spider-Boy and
Spider-Boy.
JSA recently. Yeah.
Spider-Boy. That was
Character that was
where I was
always
going.
there that no one realized.
Yeah, the Sentry.
At least Sentry executed it.
Yeah,
far better.
Sentry
It
is
was
the only time that it's ever been
good, but it
executed
wasn't.
well.
Because it but it wasn't.
Because
good,
it also wrapped itself up at the end. And
it sure
ended it.
did. Never come back.
Yes. And then unfortunately Brian Bendis brought him back.
Damn, I hate him sometimes. Oh,
You know who did it best,
Yeah.
Aaron?
Who?
The Office. Where you're sitting there watching it, they're like, you got to fire somebody. And he's like, I'm going to fire Creed. You're like, who the fuck is Creed? Is he even in the show? He's like, oh, I've been here the whole time. You can't fire me. We've been through hell together, Michael.
That's
him to
right.
fire his friend.
Creed became
Great.
such a great character too. Like every moment with him was gold.
Yeah, I like the way they did it. But thank you very much to James for the super chat and bringing up your collection. That sounds awesome. We've got HH and the guys at Sigma Comics from the Calico. Shout out to Thinking Critical. Resting now after selling out at Tampa Bay Comic-Con. Don't forget to pre-order Calico Street Math and Sport Thinking Critical now and always. Absolutely. He deserves some time off, Aaron.
I want to be HH when I grow up, except I don't have that kind of hustle.
He doesn't count his books sold by the issue anymore. He counts it by poundage.
Yeah.
How many pounds of books did we sell this weekend?
We sold 800 pounds of books.
That's a good way to look at it, right? So
That's
I
right.
hope he's enjoying the rest. You think he's in
HH,
Tampa? Or you think he went back to New York?
I don't know. HH, tell us how many books you've sold using the metric system. That's what I want.
The metric system is a commie plot, so we're not going to use that. We're in America, goddammit.
There you go. Well, congratulations on that. If you're in New York, enjoy a slice of pie. If you're in Florida, get you some fish tacos and enjoy the weather. Jose the Beast. DC has better villains. I said what I said, Doc.
I'd say for the most, I can't entirely disagree with that.
Batman's got the best rogues gallery. Flash has the third best rogues gallery. You've got one of the best
Spider-Man.
villains ever for Superman.
Yeah.
no.
Look, I mean, but
hear
here's the thing. Marvel also has Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Marvel also has
villain.
the greatest villain of all time. And Marvel also has much of, well, at least
Make a Dr. Doom
Krakoa.
movie and make a Joker movie and see which one does better.
I guarantee you could make a Dr. Doom movie do $1 billion.
Well, I can guarantee that too because Joker's actually done it, Doc.
Wow. Boom.
No.
If only the Joker had been in that movie, Wes. I
Yeah.
think you might have a point.
Ooh.
Now, additionally, pre-Krakoa, Marvel also had all the X-Men villains, which
You mean
were
the heroes?
fucking
The Krakoa?
amazing
The
until Jonathan Hickman, Jordan White, and a bunch of fucking retards broke them.
Doomsday is better than Apocalypse. Always will be.
No,
Still Superman.
Doomsday?
Doomsday's a giant
Yeah.
guy with bone protrusions.
Doomsday's
That's
got no. He's got no agenda. He's got no personality. He's
He
just
has
a
no
mindless killing
personality.
machine.
Yes,
He's cool as a mindless killing
He's
machine.
a
but
force
that's all
of
he is.
nature.
it's
Yeah,
That's
and
like
I
Baby
like the
Abomination.
idea that you kill him and then he's reborn immune to the way
Stronger.
that you killed him. Yeah, I dig that, but as far as like just a villain that you can get in and read, like I think that Apocalypse is a far better villain.
yeah. I mean, literally.
Doomsday's
I
a
mean,
way bigger threat. What are the villains supposed to be? Threats or a compelling
Fine.
anti-hero?
throw him
Well,
into
I
the
want a
sun.
compelling story, so you can be a threat and
And he would come back
Doomsday.
into the sun, Doc. It's been a
Yeah, you know what? He'll. You know where else he'll be?
He can't
what
come
else?
back from the sun.
He can't come back from the sun because he's stuck in the middle of the
I think
sun.
he's been thrown into the sun, hasn't he, Dylan?
He got brought to like the beginning of time and obliterated by the Big Bang, and he came back from that. So yeah,
Exactly.
he can.
Thank you.
He can
Yeah,
come
but,
back
you
from
know,
anything.
you can-
Also, he wouldn't go all kumbaya on Krakoa, unlike some
Also,
other
they've
Exactly.
cloned him. They've
He would've
cloned him. A
wiped
bunch
him
Yeah,
of
but
out.
that all he had-
They've cloned him a bunch of times. They had a whole army. Remember when they upped the ante by like it's a whole army of Doomsdays, and you were like, "Oh, screw you."
Yeah, the New 52
That sounds
is
like
like
a
a
Scott Snyder
virus.
thing.
I
Oh,
thought that
yeah.
was
The
virus
I
that
thought that was.
vests. Yeah, they've done a lot of interesting, cool and bad things with Doomsday.
I thought that the Doomsday clone army was in Dark Crisis. Wasn't there a Doomsday clone army in Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths?
No.
Not on
They
Dark
brought all
Crisis,
the villains together. And Doomsday was one.
Dark Crisis in the crack of your ass.
which was like the best John moment we've got since Tom Taylor got a hold of him.
There was a good moment in there that they really could have established Sean, and it didn't work out for him.
Mhm.
Yep.
That sucked.
They're never
Yeah.
going to be able to get John over. Once they changed him, once Bendis aged him up, and then once they made him gay, it was like.
Well,
that was
now
the-
he's
that was
Hank
the 1-2
Henshaw.
punch.
So
Yeah.
What?
he's like he's cyborg
Yeah, absolute
Superman
power.
now. Yeah.
Oh,
Even issue number 2, Superman and him fight and becomes a cyborg.
Yeah.
I love Hank Henshaw. That character
do
needs
too.
to be around more.
actually, hang
One
on
of
a
the
second.
coolest designs. Cyborg Superman is such a sick design.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too.
He
I
looks
mean,
Aaron's
I like
about to play with some
Superman, yeah.
toys, and I'm excited.
Oh,
Jose
really?
DeBeast also says, Doc, who has a bigger ego, Victor Von Doom or Lex Luthor?
Oh,
I'd say Doomsday.
I'd say Doom, because he believes he can straight up beat like the like death.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
Lex
he believes
Luthor
he
thinks
can-
that he should rule the entire world
I wish
just
he
because
had.
he's
Yes,
awesome.
he should rule the world. Doom
Victor Von Doom
believes-
just wants Latveria.
Doom also wants the world periodically. He knows he can take the world, though. That's the thing. Doom is already, remember, this Doom that's alive right now is the one that conquered 2099. He
Right,
conquered
all right,
the entire
Aaron,
planet.
Let's see this toy. Did you
All
make
right,
this?
so-
Where did you get this?
No, I just picked this up yesterday. I was so psyched to find it. It's the new 52 version of Hank Henshaw. I'll try and keep it in frame there. Man, I know a Ken Rocafort design when I see one. This thing is epic, and I usually like the McFarlane figures are hit and miss for me. They're too big, but I can imagine this guy being bigger because he looks like he's just putting himself together from like whatever it is that's around. Like I said, we all love Hank Henshaw, so Cyborg Superman rocks.
Bam.
All right, here, this is mine. I only have this lying around. This more. So they do these lead figures, the Eagle Moss stuff.
Yeah,
That's my Cyborg Superman right there.
love it. I have so many
I feel
different
like
figures.
a
of
pathetic
him.
loser. I don't have a Cyborg Superman doll.
I have a figure. It's not a doll. It's an action figure. Dolls have clothing on them.
Like when you buy the Mezco stuff, it's hard to
When
say.
they have hair
doll.
that feels like hair, that's
Rooted
when
hair
it's
is a doll.
It's a doll.
Kalichioki says, doesn't Doctor Doom get thwarted by the Fantastic Four like every time? Sorry, guys, he's not the best villain.
Ooh, I'll
Every
tell
villain
you.
Thwarted at the time. That's otherwise, if the villain wins, your book is over.
Yeah.
Generally.
Doomsday killed
I'm still-
Superman.
Yeah, and Superman came
Yeah.
back and whooped his ass.
He got lucky. Well, they kind of killed each other.
Well, they killed each other. Yeah,
Remember when
Yeah.
Doomsday beat the shit out of Darkseid?
that was cool.
Yeah.
Dragged them around.
Yeah, that was a good. I mean, it is true. You are beyond.
It was an onslaught juggernaut moment.
No, it was actually earned because
No.
then we got the story, the backstory, and the backstory made sense.
And
Maybe
so
the
Lane
reason-
says,
No.
"I'm sorry. Go with it."
Oh, I was gonna say maybe the reason why DC maybe has better villains is there's too many characters at Marvel, like Nova. You know,
Why do you hate on Nova?
Well, I'd still think Arcade's the best Marvel villain, but Lane says those guys are okay, but Sinestro's the best, man. If you're not going to go with Joker or like Lex Luthor, I think Negative Flash eats Sinestro's lunch, and I love Sinestro. I think Negative Flash or Reverse Flash, I'm sorry, is
well, he's such
absolutely
an
badass.
asshole.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is an
it's
asshole.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the meme? I don't want to describe it too much, but where it's from one of the animations, but
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
where
about.
he's like, you were with a girl,
was
Barry,
me,
when you were a
Barry.
teenager, yeah, and I.
Just change I think Sorrow Lantern is the best. That's
Sad
the
Lantern?
one yeah, Sad Lantern. I
No,
like
I
him.
think Lane's got a good point. Sinestro is definitely up there.
Sinestro's
in my top,
great.
he's in
Sinestro's
my top
sick.
5. Doom's number 1, but Sinestro's in my top 5.
What do you think, Dylan? You're the DC guy. Where's Sinestro sit in the pantheon of DC villains?
He's definitely up there. He's definitely one of the best, if not. I could see it's definitely justified to have as your favorite. Lex is my favorite, but Sinestro is awesome. He's so cool, especially when done well. What Jeff Johns did with him. Sinestro Corps was amazing, and Sinestro
It
is
is.
always sick. And he's such a hater, which is a great part of a villain. It's like just having someone that just absolutely hates your main character is great.
Because
I
Hal
remember
Jordan is
nerding out.
everything Sinestro wishes he could be.
Yeah.
I remember nerding
On
out
day
on
one.
that page. I can't remember if it was Blackest Night or maybe I think it was Blackest Night because it was the culmination of it. It wasn't Brightest Day yet. But you open that first page and Sinestro is in the White Lantern costume and he's like, "Behold Sinestro, the savior of the universe." And I was like, "This is comics." I love this so much.
Oh man, but yeah, Sinestro is great. There's so many good villains at DC. They definitely trump Marvel. That was a good call.
Once you made
Yep.
Sinestro, once you took Sinestro from just being a mustache twirling bad guy to the guy that thinks he's right, those are always your best villains. The reason Doom works is because Doom believes that he's right. He's the hero of his own story. Magneto believes he's right. He's the hero of his own story. Once they turned that corner with Sinestro, once Jeff Johns did that, Sinestro became the great villain that he had always had the potential to be.
And then they break them when the writer believes Magneto is the hero of the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then it doesn't work.
I guess they haven't lost the plot on Sinestro yet. So we got some other topics to get into. Do you guys want to talk about Aliens versus Avengers? I sent you a review copy. Let's hit that one out. So this was a surprise for me. A lot of people were hating on Doc and I because we didn't love Wolverine Revenge. But I thought Aliens versus Avengers from Jonathan Hickman and then Asad Ribic as the artist was a real surprise for me. Did you read this one, Uel? Did you get to check it
Yeah,
out?
I did. Yeah, I thought it was really good too.
Well, what did you love about it? Was it the art? Although Ribic cannot draw women to look pretty. Other than that, it's great.
Well, they're all aged up, so it really didn't matter that they weren't that hot looking. You know what I mean? He has kind of like a weird mumpy thing that he does on his characters' faces, but yeah, first and foremost, it was the artwork. But I'm in usually with the Jonathan Hickman book, especially if it's Marvel related. So I dug it. I thought it was good. It had all the action and it had Wakandans in space going up against this stuff. So
We haven't seen that since
that was I mean, yeah, that was kind of cool. And it's like, it's all kind of I'm like, how are they going to get the aliens, whatever they're doing, and advancing the characters in age, is a pretty good way to do it.
I was expecting the aliens to come to Earth and the Avengers to fight them, and that is not what happens.
No, it doesn't.
Not even close.
No, I don't want to spoil. I'm in
No.
shopkeep mode when I'm talking like this. All right, so I read it a week before it came out, or the week before it was supposed to come out, and I said, "Oh shit!" I was very scared about this $7.99 cover price. I'm gonna kind of hold my orders down, just tamp them down just a bit and get a couple extra covers instead. I don't have any more to sell to people, and it's not even Saturday for me yet. So
Damn.
I had already reordered them, so they're going to be coming back in the store. But yeah,
That book gave Sully brain freeze. He said he couldn't handle the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, weird.
Too much good stuff. I mean, I
He liked
understand
it's
that.
Jeff.
Oh well, that's. I think you're explaining it right there.
He's
then.
following Ramby's Detective Comics and loves it, but he can't handle Aliens versus Predator. Or,
I had a customer telling me earlier today or yesterday that they really liked the Detective Comics story and are really glad that they were sticking it through. But that one little part, I guess, in the middle was not so good.
I warned people on this show. I did. But
that it was good.
No, that it was meandering and would never get to anything, and that was way back. And I ended up getting yelled at by pretty much everybody else here. But the idea of it though is I've had people who say they like it, and that's fine. You know that they like it, but boy, it's been a slog. It really has.
This last issue was pretty decent though.
Actually, and you see when you get to some action, maybe you should have mixed some of that in before. Yeah, it's a deal.
All right, Dylan, what did you think of Aliens versus Avengers? Was this something that you liked, the crossover, the way you want it to be done?
I really liked it. I thought it was great. It was sick seeing the Black Panthers in space when they all just go out there, and the xenomorphs look awesome. The art was amazing.
And you feel like, whoa, they've got this contained. They're all over it. Then you're like, oh, no, they're not all over it.
Things get out of hand very quickly. Yeah, I like the way Bruce was handling it, too. I love seeing that. Bruce being like sort of an overbearing uncle. That was sick. And some crazy eyes in this book, that's for sure, though. I don't think the eyes on some of these people just look insane. But also, I was dying laughing at Miles Morales. When he gets hit with the face hugger, he's like freaking this and no spider sense activates at all. It looked hilarious. It was also weird, though, because he had like the vampire teeth. So I was like, oh, so he's a vampire in this timeline, too. So that was weird. But yeah.
Is he interesting yet? Is he interesting yet? Now he's got a new costume and new powers.
Very interesting by the ending because you won't see that coming. It was good.
Yeah.
No, it's
the
it was
twist of them was cool.
It was pretty cool. There's somewhere that Darth Vader would be effective in a Star Wars versus Aliens crossover, which could happen now because everything's owned by Disney.
I think Wolverine in this scenario would be so cool, though. Like a chest burster coming out of Wolverine and then him just healing, or like
adamantium chest burster.
Yes, that would be awesome.
That's getting memed. Yeah, but he just grabs the chest burster and just like starts strangling it.
That would be so sick. Or him like taking on xenomorphs, just the acid just taking them apart and then healing from it. That would be so cool.
So
yeah, but then they throw Deadpool in there and there'd be a bunch of dumb jokes.
So there was a price associated with this deal, and it was, I believe, a $7.99 comic book, and I believe the next issues are as well. It's only 40 pages. It's not particularly plus sized. Do you think that price is worth it with the fantastic art from Assad and obviously the story from Jonathan that actually takes some good chances on it and actually works in the end, I think?
Yeah, I'd say if they can keep up this quality of the first issue, I'd say it's worth it. I would definitely recommend it. I wouldn't hesitate to say you should go buy it if you were scared of the price tag. But that is a lot of money for a single issue for only 40 pages. But I would say it was worth it. Just hopefully they can keep up this consistency for the rest of it, which who knows at this point.
I think it's only 4 issues, so there's a chance if Hickman came in with an actual plan, I think they could nail the landing. Now, Sparrow, you like aliens and stuff, and I did send you a review copy. Were you able to check it out?
I did. I actually really liked it. I thought it was a good setup. I also like Daniel Ebbs in the chat saying, I want Predator versus Daredevil. I also want that. I would check that out. But yeah, no, I did not think this premise was going to work. I didn't think that Avengers versus Aliens would be interesting, but they nailed it. They nailed the first issue. So like you guys, I'm curious where it's going to go. I hope that they stick the landing. I hope that they have something fun in mind, because this could be a really great crossover. It could be just one of those fun things that everybody enjoys and gets behind, like Batman versus Predator back in the day.
Then Yuri Volti just gave away, if you did a Wolverine versus Alien book, you would just throw Deadpool into the hive and give the Queen cancer.
But,
right?
But yeah, I mean, maybe why would the Queen get cancer? Queen doesn't get cancer.
Because
all the drones
she's feeding off of Deadpool.
Why would she feed off of him? She's just going to cocoon him up.
And they're just a harbin. They're just
it's only the one that gestate. Yeah,
period.
it's only the one that'll gestate in him that'll pull off any of his DNA.
Well, maybe it's psychotic and it's got cancer and it dives into the queen and gives her cancer.
Or you just
Maybe
go
it
and
spit-
kill the
maybe-
queen then.
Maybe it spits cancer into her mouth, like a homeless person in San Francisco tries to do with AIDS all the time.
Jesus, Aaron. There's a lot of negative connotations about the
I'm
unhoused
offended
there.
by that. That's
Unhoused.
unhoused.
Exactly. I'm very upset
The
about you not
unhoused
saying
guy
unhoused.
spits to get AIDS.
My feelings are a little
Gosh
hurt.
darn it. You so insensitive.
It's weird when I'm the offensive one when Doc is on the panel.
Well, he might
So,
be smoking
Jim-
right now.
Yeah.
It sounds like everyone loved it, but you thought it was just kind of all right.
I didn't read it. I read a couple pages.
You read half of it, and
I read half of it. I'm just not an Alien fan, so I just that's it. I didn't say it was bad. I think it looks.
Well, I would like
great.
you to
I just-
defend yourself here,
I'm
Jim.
just-
I'm trying to
I'm
make
not-
this a personal attack on you.
I'm all you just put Dylan in, and we'll start yelling at each other. No, the idea of it. I started
Dylan,
reading it.
explain the comic book to Jim.
And this is the thing again. I was
And don't
reading
forget,
it.
he almost died.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
seriously.
yeah. It's-
You know, when you get fried, the last thing you want to do is really go through a bunch
Exact-
of text.
yes.
and
We all
all
know
that.
that Jim almost dying is a weekly occurrence.
That is
like
thing.
it's
I-
like it's old
that's
hat
not-
at this point.
That'd be the thing.
Electrocution is no joke.
No, it isn't. That
No,
would
I
just scare the
hate
shit
it.
out of me. But in
Oh,
it,
I hate it.
I said I got halfway through. Again, I could have read it since we had our show on your Patreon. But when I was reading it, we had all those books to do, and I was halfway through, and I said to you, I recognize it as being really good, and I think people will really love it. It's just I have no connection to Alien, the franchise, anything, so it just ended up being something that really didn't grab me. But that's all on me. It usually is on me. But yeah, I
Didn't
end
grab
up
you
where
by the balls.
the kahoonies.
and pull
But
you
again,
with it?
I read it, and it's one of them. This happens to a lot of things. You know, you're reading it, and you end up like, yeah, I see that it's good, but I'm just not into it. And then,
So
unfortunately,
you never read Green Lantern versus Alien?
no.
Oh,
I'm
that's really
telling
good.
you,
That one was
of
so
all those
good.
type of franchises that you would like put in with Predator and even say like a Terminator, stuff like that, Alien never interested me at all. It never did. And
Did you
I
ever
did
read
like
Superman
Aliens.
Predator.
Yeah, I've read that.
Oh, okay,
and,
that
and
one's good.
so yeah. But in the meantime, like I said, I think they're kind of boring, and it just is my thing. But again, that's me.
Blast.
All
They're
right, Doc.
saying in chat that Alien's boring. Some people.
That's wild.
Well, and again,
Doc-
I think that's right. It's the idea. If you're not into it, it is
That very
boring.
first movie with Sigourney Weaver, that's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
that's like science fiction gold.
Well, this
there.
is the kids. This is the kids today. Is they've seen
I'm-
all of the derivatives of Alien
Well, and
that
I'll-
have come since
Yeah.
first. So when
Yeah.
they go
Well,
back
then
and
what
they watch
happened to Jim?
Alien-
He's older than all of us.
well, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. I'll admit that when I first saw the first Alien
He's
movie,
like,
I was young.
this is just a fucked up version of the Blob.
When-
I see
when-
exactly what you're doing.
Well, the first Alien movie,
Bullshit.
I was 85. I couldn't connect with it. No, I was a young kid. I saw it on HBO, and it was more.
HBO.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
man.
more
Wow.
slow.
I am
It
old.
was
rich.
it was slow moving. That because it's a plotting type of thing and building
I
up
saw
the
that
tension.
at
Well,
9
it's a
years
slow
old.
burn.
I love that movie.
Yeah, and
It's
me and
okay
you
to have a slow burn.
All right,
Yeah,
Jim. I
saw
want
it
you
on
to
my
shit on
own.
Jaws now.
as a kid though, I couldn't. I'm more, and I'm telling you, I have such a bad attention deficit disorder that I watched it and I couldn't. It didn't get my interest, and I haven't gone back and watched it since. So
When you
I
were a
probably
child, did you stick forks in the outlet?
yes, I did.
Wes, if Jim shits on Jaws, both Aaron Lepresti and
Un-
James Silvani will show up at his doorstep to kick his
Here's
ass.
the thing. Legitimately, the only thing
Jaws
I have
is slow
against
burn.
Jaws, I
Mhm.
saw Jaws at a vacation at the beach, and it was the worst
Ooh.
freaking summer I've ever had. And
He
then
was on
even-
vacation with the kids.
I was on
and-
vacation at the shore, and we saw Jaws, and then my dad was pissed because we wouldn't go in the ocean because that somehow that was costing him money. But also then right after that, we had an uncle that we would go to and swim in his pool. The damn guy painted a shark on the bottom of his pool. It was the stupidest thing ever, and I wouldn't go swimming there either. I love Jaws.
You
But-
didn't understand
Yeah.
the concept that the shark was painted and wasn't real.
No, and
You
we
don't
would
care.
bet each
Dude,
other,
it's
and we'd
scary.
say, yeah, we'll give you $5 if you go down and touch the shark, and nobody would. It was freaking
Oh.
No, when you're a kid, you like anything's possible. So
Yeah.
like, that thing could come to
It's gonna
life.
come
I
to
don't
life.
know. Like
That was
anything's
crazy.
anything's a possible.
You know, I know
Eating
it's
pixels.
unreal, but I care.
yeah.
It's on your first of all, it's on your dad because why would he let you watch Jaws when you're on a vacation at the beach?
That's
that would
what I'm
be
saying.
That would be like, we're going on a plane trip, kids. Here, let's watch Die Hard 2.
He didn't know his son Jim was a
Oh.
Nancy. What was he
No.
supposed to
Maybe
do?
he was
assumed he
trying-
had some cojones.
Where you're wrong.
I
Lester.
still don't go in the ocean because
he
of
knew.
Jaws.
He knew I was a Nancy.
That's
I
why
think
he
that
played
was
it.
messing
Never
with me.
mind.
But again,
That's
when
why
I
I
was a
did it.
kid, like things like 2001, when I'd go to see that, or when that was on and stuff, that didn't get me. It didn't end up getting me because of the slow deal. And since then, I've gone back and watched some of these things and liked them a little more. Like Planet of the Apes, I'm not into. That's a lot of things that I'm not into.
We're
All
not
right,
supposed
Jim,
to go. We're not supposed to go in the ocean.
We're not
We
Yeah.
picking
fought our
on
way to the
Jim
top
anymore.
of the food chain on land.
Doc,
What?
did you read Aliens versus Avengers?
I did not.
There you go. I sent you the review copy. He didn't have it, so we're going 4 out of 5. Say it's a hot, and Jim's
Yeah.
going with a mid.
I
But
yeah,
acknowledging that if you're an Alien or Avengers fan, you might enjoy the book.
exactly.
Very nice. Lane says he wants Punisher versus Aliens versus Predator by Garth Ennis.
My favorite,
I
I've
don't
read
think
a
Predator-
lot of these
Punisher.
these xenomorph or predator crossing over with something else throughout the years. I skipped this one, not because I just didn't have fucking time.
Doc, we've
to read
moved
it.
on from the subject. What do you think of
but-
Punisher versus
no,
Aliens versus Predator?
I think that they could do this really, really well. It would be kind of Predator
You don't
1.
need Alien though.
You don't need Alien in there. But see, I would love, because Frank is so good at kind of setting people up to setting things up in his favor. I would love to see the way that Frank would set up the aliens to be like, when he kills the aliens, it's killing the predators somehow in the process, because he gets the predators stuck
He
in a fucking
sprays all their
he
acid
gets
blood on them.
he somehow gets the predators stuck in a room below a grate where he starts slaughtering aliens so that their blood kills the fucking predators. Yeah,
It turns out the Predator killed his wife and kids.
well,
Yeah.
no, that's if Jason Aaron was
And
involved.
then
Wow.
and
Oh,
then
the
they
Jason Aaron
it's the
version.
future, and they unfreeze him and he eats at Taco Bell. It'd be cool.
He's so upset. There's a lot of potential.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
but no, they could do it really. I would love that. There's I like the
All right.
Alien versus Superman way back in the day too.
Very nice. There's a recommended there. Thank you very much, Lane. So we're not going to be able to fully cover these topics, but I do want to hear from Uel as a comic book retailer. How are DC Compact Comics doing? Because I'm looking at all the information out there, and it looks like they're performing pretty well, and people are enjoying them. Are they a big hit at your shop?
Not really. I mean, I've sold
Oh.
some, but I'm not the trade store I used to be. If I was in the larger setting that I was in, prior to the pandemic, which was not the reason why I moved. I would have a big display. They're offering the display for anybody that orders like 60 copies of these things, any number of 60. And I would have easily done something like that, but just housing that many books sounds horrible to me now.
Are you surprised that one of them actually jumped onto the top 20 bestseller in bookstores over manga titles? It's the first time we've seen DC on that list in like 4 years.
Which one? Which title was that?
Watchmen.
Watchmen.
They've only got 3 or 4 out right now. It's Watchmen,
We
Court of
sold
Owls,
Watchmen,
All-Star
and
Superman, and then Far Sector.
Far Sector. Yeah, we've sold Watchmen in every conceivable fashion.
Full way possible.
Now
That
we're
always
going to
works.
do it in a $10 book.
Yeah.
I
So there you go.
I think it's kind of stupid, really, and I don't know what people expect when it comes to collections, but I think these are just. I mean, how many times are we going to see the same old thing packaged and repackaged?
well, because
Why in
Well,
the hell
until
would
DC
you
writes a new
choose Far?
story.
Why in the world would you choose Far Sector as one of the first books that you put out?
well, they wanted to
One of
make
the
sure they
female
got
minority hero
There
represented.
they go.
but
Well, not only that, but that writer is
N.K.
a
Jemisin.
science fiction writer. Yeah,
She's an award winner.
people know
Yes.
of her. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
and
here's
it goes good in a bookstore. You know what I mean?
well, that is the target for it. I mean, hopefully, I think the big determining factor is in 2 years, if Uel is seeing new readers interested in reading more comics coming into his store because the compact comics have.
I don't think that's going to happen
readers.
because it's a completely different form factor in size.
It's not an issue of form factor. The form factor is useful for getting people in.
I don't think that's the point of DC Compact Comics is to create new readers like in the shop. I think it's to sell.
I'll tell you when
DC
I,
stories
as
in
a
the size.
shopkeep, will sell this well. When anybody who's a teacher wants me to get copies for them, then
the students
that just one like say one teacher does, you know what, I'm going to do something that will somehow tie into Court of Owls, let's say, or whatever, Watchmen, and it's taught in the class, and then they'll either send the students or I'll get a big order and, you know, maybe do it that way. That might be a good way to for stores to sell that book very well in mass quantities maybe. But overall, unless I'm offering something, but again, how many more Court of Owls am I going to be? If you like this absolute Batman, you're going to love this, and it's only $10. I could hustle those out, but I'm not really working too hard for a different version of All-Star Superman, a different version of, I mean, one of my
You'll have to also hope that somebody likes Absolute Batman.
Yeah, well, that you know what? These are great.
You shut your whore mouth. The goddamn Batman with Crazy Steve is fucking awesome.
It's gonna be great. People are gonna be like, he's gonna be like, hey, if you like Absolute Batman, they're like, I do like Absolute Batman. He's like, then read this Court of Owls. And they're gonna come back and they're gonna go, man, this is some bullshit you sold me. He's not even on stilts.
Yeah. All right, Dylan, I'll let you have the last word. Have you picked up a DC Compact comic yet?
No, I didn't, because I feel like it's not for me. I feel like the only way I'd pick up a compact comic would be if it's something that I really haven't read and haven't cared about, and it's like maybe that kind of interesting, because I prefer like the premium formats. Like
so you're gonna get
collecting
Far Sector. It's only $10.
If I were to read Far Sector, I'd pick it up that way, but I don't care about Far Sector at all. I might pick up Wonder Woman because I never really cared to read Earth 1 Wonder Woman, but it's only $10, so it's like maybe I'll check that out. So.
Very nice. Let's see if we can get this in real quick. Remember, we are pushing up against the time, and Daddy does need some chicken nuggets, but let's end it on a high note and talk about our favorite Avenger stories of all time. Everybody's got one chosen. Dylan, what is your favorite Avenger story of all times?
I'm going to go with Infinity Gauntlet. I like Infinity Gauntlet, right? It's got everything you want. It's got amazing moments. You got Thanos turning Thor to glass just after getting his ass beat. You got Captain America standing up to Thanos when he has no reason he should. That whole ending, everything going on. I love Infinity Gauntlet. And the art's
Thanos falling asleep and having his Infinity Gauntlet stolen by his crazy daughter.
Yeah, Nebula stealing it and just being like, this much. Like, she's just haggard, horrific looking. And then she gets the Infinity Gauntlet. She's like, I've got all of the power now. She's just been abused the whole time. Now she has all the power. They got Adam Warlock at the end, just standing on business against everyone. I love when Adam Warlock gets the gauntlet and he just like sets it down. Everyone's like, no. Like they immediately go for it. He's like, stop. You can't do anything. It's great.
When you get the shot of Thanos as Eternity. Like, that is such a great image. Like, it's
so many iconic images in this.
Yeah, so many good moments in that.
Those Star-Lord 3 panels of Cap just walking up to Thanos when everyone else has been defeated. Like, he just killed Thor a second ago, and he's just laughing at him. Oh man, it's so good.
But Cap's gonna make the final stand no matter what. Like, he's the last man standing, as it should be.
And then he gets backhanded like 2 panels later. He gets distracted, like Thanos gets distracted by something, and he just like backhands.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I don't have time for
this.
Yeah,
he's just like, he exactly does that. But it's great. There's like, Infinity Gauntlet's got everything you want. Everything you want.
Very nice. My choice is Civil War, which I think is fantastic. A really cool story there with some iconic moments. I still love the Daredevil, where I think he has like some silver in his mouth for selling out, and then the Captain America on Punisher scene where Punisher was inspired by Captain America and he like has no respect for him. That was good stuff. Really enjoy Civil War. What's your answer, Aaron? What's your favorite Avenger story ever?
I can't remember the name of it, but it's I just love it so much because I thought it was just such a simple, self-contained story. It starts out just in a small town, and the Red Skulls, you don't know that's what it is yet, but the Red Skulls' red dust of death is spreading through and killing everybody. And you've just got this great moment with this. It's just like one of the most iconic moments in comics for me for Captain America. What's it called?
Red Zone. It's
Red Zone.
The one with the Jeff Johns did.
Yes, the Jeff Johns one. You've just got that moment where the little kid, his parents are dead, and he's standing there crying, and he's like, I just want to go home. I want to go home. And Cap, I've talked about it before, and I get like choked up every time. Cap's hand comes down into the panel, and he's like, don't worry, son. And you turn the page, and the last page is Cap holding that kid, and he's like, we're going to get you home. And you're like, that's Captain America right there. And the rest of the story is good, and it ends with Falcon fighting the Red Skull and like almost punching his jaw off after hearing some really racist shit from the Skull. And it's just really satisfying. And I'm sorry that Jeff Johns didn't get a longer run on Avengers, because I think he could have done some really good stuff. I think he did like maybe 19, 20 issues.
A couple years. Yep. Very nice. Jim, what's your favorite Avengers story that you think people should be reading? Is Jim there?
No.
Has Jim exited the building?
I was muted. I'm going to
Almost died.
I'm going to agree with Dylan. Surprisingly, I really liked Infinity Gauntlet. I just ended up
Dylan, could you explain Infinity Gauntlet to Jim?
I need an explanation. I just recently did a podcast, an episode going through it again, and I the second time through I even liked it more. So I think it stands up, and I really like Civil War though as well, but I think Infinity Gauntlet to me is the best.
Very nice. Uel, what is your number one Avengers story of all time?
Well, it would be the David Letterman issue. So I can just stop now. That's the greatest one ever. But 183 and 184, right before the Knights of Wundagore, which is part of the link that you send us about the Avengers stories. Still John Byrne on art. Still Dave Michelini, but it has the Absorbing Man, and I just really love those two issues, 83 and 183, 184.
Very nice. Do you have copies?
No. I mean, in my house, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Your first collection.
I have that. In fact, Marvel used to do compact books, and they were in black and white, and they did
Masterworks.
No, those are the colored ones. These are smaller, actually. Not unlike the compact size that the DC ones are doing. And they did the collection of the Byrne and Michelini Knights of Wundagore story. Has 183, 184 in it. They did X-Men, Paul Smith times. Those are cool. A couple other things.
So what you're saying is DC didn't do anything new again. They followed Marvel's.
Oh, it's in color.
Oh, there you go. There's a final recommendation from Doc. What's your favorite Avengers story of all time, and why does it have anything to do with the X-Men?
Well, actually, I've hated virtually every X-Men
like
Avengers cross. Fuck AVX. I'm not even a big fan of
What about when they brought Jean Grey back?
Still not. Even Bloodlines was probably the closest. But no. First of all, I don't consider Civil War or Infinity Gauntlet.
I understand that it is
it's a Marvel
line-wide thing, but it's Captain America versus Tony Stark. That's an Avengers book.
I understand that, but so I'm gonna have to. I can give my. I have two answers. One is I want to piss everyone off answer, and one is a more legitimate answer. I'm gonna piss everybody off answer is what was it? Avengers 200, where Carol has a baby with her own kid that's time displaced.
It's a god that has sex with her so that he can be born in physical form so he could date Carol. That's all.
Yes, exactly.
Makes sense to me.
So weird.
What will you do for love?
I know, right?
Do you go that
far? He apparently will do that.
Yeah, Shooter was one of the writers, but
Claremont.
Michelini's on that
Claremont.
one.
No, Claremont fixed it.
He saves it.
Oh,
later.
Claremont fixed it later. Yeah. But no, so I will instead go with the Kree Skrull War.
Good job.
No, that is a good choice.
I always really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed Galactic Storm. That's my answer.
You did? Oh God! I was gonna ask.
That was on a list.
Yeah, Galactic Storm was. Oh God, that was that event that Marvel really just wanted to get over. To this day, they're still mad that event never got over.
That had a video game.
Yes.
Man.
No, Galactic Storm. I just not good.
No.
But no, Kree Skrull War, I think is probably it for me.
Very nice. And I'm going to throw another one out there for our good friend Eric Breen. It's his favorite comic story of all times. It's the Avengers Korvac saga, which he says is the greatest comic story of all time. So we'll throw that one out there. So we got a little high note, have some fun there. Now let's talk about our comic book recommendations. Dylan, are you going to recommend any modern comic books for the readers this week? Because I think this was a good week for readers.
I have two. I didn't read a whole bunch this week, so I only have two. I have Batman Off-World #5. It's finally back after a bunch of delays, but I love this issue.
Like 8 months?
Great. Yeah, it's been a long time. But Doug Mankey kills it as always, and it's pretty sick. Everything that goes on. It's a very action-packed book. I loved it. Off-World #5. And then what we already talked about, which was Aliens vs. Avengers. Even though it's pretty pricey, it's still really good and it's worth the price tag. Those are my only two this week.
Were you planning on reading that before I sent you the review copy? Or were you just
Aliens vs. Avengers?
Surprised? Yes.
I was going to read it, yeah. Because I'd actually seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about it, how much they loved it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. I'd seen some sick pages because that art looked amazing. And so I was like, okay, that's what got me really interested in it.
Very good. So is there anything else people should be on the lookout? Other appearances? You know, I know you got the podcast. I mean, you're streaming. You playing any new games this week?
No new games, but in like 40 minutes, my new video will be up talking about Superman Came Out Falls, and I put a lot of effort into it. So I'd very much appreciate if you check it out. It's gonna be on my channel.
Absolutely.
So.
You have to search for it because they will not promote it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, this is not the type of algorithm-friendly content.
We got to bury
long
this
video.
Shit.
Good.
Very nice. You'll really appreciate you bringing the retailer perspective to the channel here this week. I thought this was a great week as far as readable comic book stuff that you get into. Did you have any that you wanted to recommend to the peoples?
Yeah, I actually really liked a lot of stuff, but I'm going to keep it brief. If you want to know more, follow me at Fantastic Comics on YouTube. X-Men 3. I liked it.
It was a huge improvement over number 2.
Well, I didn't really have a problem as much. I mean, number 2 was just like one of those stories.
Terrible.
Like, I feel like, all right, but hold on. Like, it's the typical Jed McKay thing. I'm going to give you this really big story, and then on one issue, and then the next one's gonna maybe have to do with something, and then you're gonna start getting into like some meteor stuff, and he kind of does it that way. Savage Sword of Conan 4 is a little bit of a departure. It's more Robert E. Howard stuff, but there is a lot of different illustrators in that, and it's amazing. I highly recommend it. All the different characters, Dark Agnes, still doing Solomon Kane. Yeah,
preludes for this big event that they got coming out starting next week.
Next week, yeah. Distillery's Life #1 has Stephanie Phillips and Brian Azzarello on it writing. And
Lee Lowridge.
Really pardon me?
Lee Lowridge is the artist.
Oh, I thought it was Daniel Zielzig.
Maybe.
I think Lee Lowridge is the color.
He's probably a colorist then. Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and it's a flip book and 2 different stories from 2 different perspectives.
Don't say that to Sully. You'll buy it.
He does. Oh yeah, it's a flipper.
He loves it.
You're gonna love it. I didn't read both stories fully, but I read to the hooks, and I actually liked it quite a bit for writers I'm not a big fan of. And then did I say Sacrificers? That one's great. Lastly, Comics Journal. You got to get it if you're a Marvel fan. This is number 310. It's $25, and it's a big, thick brick, and it also does this crazy long interview or thing by Gary Groth, of course, the owner, featuring the artist who's done stuff I can't think of right now. Anyway, but the reason to get it is they talk about the Bill Jamis years, and that's a big ass article too. So if you want to, and at first I was like, oh man, they're gonna slam this guy because that's Comics Journal can't stand anything Marvel and DC, but they really do an awesome job dissecting it, and I can't wait to get into a good reading situation to really peruse it. But I highly recommend you go to your store and get that Comics Journal if you're a Marvel fan, especially from the Bill Jamis years. Yeah.
Very nice. And do you have anything people should be looking out for?
Just Tuesday nights, baby.
It's a stream, baby. Stream's where it's at.
Yeah.
Odin 87, as promised, my Dark Horse Star Wars recommendations. This is something we wanted to cover, but we didn't get quite to. He goes with Anderson's Tales of the Jedi and Miller's Knights of the Old Republic, Blackman and Ostrander's Clone Wars, Manning, Goodwin, and Williamson's Classic Star Wars and X-Wing Rogue Squadron. Have a great weekend. All fantastic recommendations. I put out my 5 favorite out there. And Dylan, I know you're an enormous Dark Horse Star Wars fan. Are you seconding this list?
Yes, great list. Definitely check that out. You won't be disappointed.
Are you going to add anything to it? What are your personal recommendations if you're a Dark Horse Star Wars fan, or maybe you missed it and you want some really awesome Star Wars comics?
I'd say check out the Boba Fett omnibus. It's pretty sick. There's a lot of really cool Boba Fett stories in here, including some from Ostrander. There's a lot of really cool stuff that will make you hate Disney even more for what they did with them with Book of Boba Fett.
That's definitely true. I love the Thrawn trilogy too, with Mike Baron obviously adapting the Timothy Zahn story, but so much good stuff there. And I love the X-Wing Rogue Squadron stuff. It's great. Wedge is the man. Why don't we have a Wedge and Tilly show? That's my question.
I'm going to throw the first. They'd ruin it, Wes. Don't ask for anything. Don't ask for anything from Disney. It's like when people are like, "Oh, what would you like to see? Them do as a streaming show?" Nothing. I don't want them to touch it anymore. Leave it alone. All you do is
more
destroy.
Acolyte.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I do want more Acolyte because you know what? I will make this pledge to you. If you guys sign that petition and get us an Acolyte season 2, I will not only watch it, I will relaunch my own channel and dedicate reviews to it.
Wow.
Man.
I want
You were
to
going to throw something else in there, Aaron? I'm sorry. I probably interrupted.
And I'll promote Neil before Doomface while I do that.
That's right. That's right. Damn straight. I'm going to recommend if you can find that first story arc of Dark Times. That was also fantastic from Dark Horse. Also Legacy by Ostrander and Dersema, as well as their Republic series, which took place during the Clone Wars. So I think it's covered here, but all of those are fantastic. Dark Horse did some great stuff. Oh, and go check out Tag and Binker Dead, which is a lot of fun.
That's mine.
If you're
Star Wars
looking at
Tales are
stuff
good
and you're not sure if it says Ostrander, Baron, Veach, there's another writer. Like all their stuff is basically great in the comic books. There are a lot of really awesome guys here. Dylan says it was a great show. You should have been more favorite stories at the end of the shows. It's a lot more fun and a great way to learn about older stories. That is my complete intention to do that at the end. We will, time permitting, have a team or a character out there, and we'll talk about our personal favorites for that. And I do want to incorporate that into every show. That's why I made sure that we got it in here, because I had so much fun like a few weeks ago when we were just talking about our favorite stuff. It's a lot more fun. So
these last few shows have been good, have been bangers, man.
Oh no,
I've been owning the shit. I've been rocking it out. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like
you've got the Riz.
Absolutely.
Wes is the new Riz King. He defeated Baby Gronk in a 1v1.
Wow.
Very nice. Aaron, are you recommending new comic books this week?
Oh, so many good comics this week. NYX #2 is out. We've got
Gotham City
I
Sirens.
No, it's a lot of trash this week. I think that I'm going to recommend Void Rivals, of course. I'm going to recommend Sacrificers. And I saw that Marjorie Liu has a new issue of Monstrous out. I kind of fell off, but I think, I haven't read that one, so I can't give it a hard recommend. But Marjorie Liu has always been really solid, and I did enjoy Monstrous for a long time. So I'm going to jump back in and catch up. That kind of fell off my radar for a while. So those. And
you also liked Aliens versus Avengers.
Yeah, you did like Aliens versus Avengers. Yes, so I'll give that a recommend as well. I was excited to see that Chasm, Curse of Cain #1 was coming out, and then I saw that Steve Fox was writing it, and I was like, oh no, thank you. There's like so many books that like I would get into, but I just can't once I see the creative team. You know what? There is one more recommendation. I will say check out the 0 Hour 30th anniversary. Yes, it has anti-customer dickhole Ron Mars writing a story in there, but he's canceled out by the coolness of Dan Jurgens. So, give that a look.
Aren't we all canceled out by the coolness of Dan Jurgens?
Dan Jurgens is a good dude.
It's dope.
Can I?
You wanted to jump in here.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I really had to let you know because it was so very important. I like Paranoid Gardens a lot.
A lot of people are liking that series a lot.
I will check that out.
That's a Gerard Way comic book. Not always one of my favorites, but he's done a few things that people like, and this one I like a lot. Yeah.
And that's the one with the trippy art, right?
It's Chris Weston. He's a good artist, but not somebody. He's done a lot of stuff like with Warren Ellis.
This is like the superhero, like fucking retirement home thing, right?
It's kind of like that, yeah, like a care center.
Okay, that's a different book that I'm thinking of. I read the first one and I hadn't read it yet.
I read that one once. It was called Welcome to Tranquility.
Was that the
Gale did it with Neil Gooch?
Simone. Yeah, but this one's neater.
Neil Gooch was a better artist.
All right, Doc. Daddy needs some chicken nuggies. No more interruptions. Sparrow, is there anywhere that people can look out for you that you'll be around this week?
I don't know what's going on this week. I think I'm just doing the regular shows. We're of course doing the Wednesday show, but actually I got to talk to you about that. I was wondering if we could move it to the holiday Monday if you've got time. Would be fantastic. So maybe we can record it then. I've been kind of like circling around with Jeff to see about going on World Class Bullshitters. We'll see if we can make that happen. And of course, you can find me on Tuesdays on Pop by Culture when Josh decides to do that, because it's kind of been hit or miss lately. And then, on Sunday, I do Max's Man Cave when he decides not to go solo.
Very nice. Appreciate that. Jim, are you recommending new books this week?
Yeah, I have TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures number 16, which is a lot of fun. Batman Off-World, which was really good. Nemesis Rogues Gallery 2. And I know that some people will probably hate it, but Deadpool Team Up number 1. But I like Rob Liefeld. So it's a weird, nonsensical story, but I do like it. So that's my recommendation.
And it's got Chris Star in it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Jim, you forgot Grommets.
Oh, you know what? I have that on the deal. Grommets as well. And especially if you're from that time deal, it's really good. And getting
Sparrow
better.
Would like Grommets more than anybody.
I think he would love it. And
what issue is it on?
4, I think. Is it 4? Yeah.
Okay, so not
it's
instrumental.
So awesome. They draw classic Taco Bell in the last issue.
Yeah.
Do you?
I was like, I remember that.
Do you have those, Uel? Can I buy those from you?
Yeah, sure. I'll pull them aside.
It's Rick Remender, Brian Stain, and then Brett Parson is the artist, and it looks like $1 million, and it's a fun read.
Yep.
Sweet.
Jim, do you got anything people should be looking out for?
Like I said, just the regular stuff. I'm going to get more of some comic videos up and things like that. And if they want to hear crazy songs, you can go to Sus Records, and that's where I have the dirty songs. So check that out as well.
Very nice. And then finally, Doc, are you going to recommend Deadpool Team Up? Because I know you didn't hate it. We reviewed it already, and I know you read a new book this week.
Yeah, you know what? I am going to recommend it. Look, if you want the most competent plot and dialogue in the world, you're never going to get it from
no.
I mean, look, but if you want a cool, fun action story that sometimes feels a little random, you're going to get that. So, and I'm looking forward to issue 2. I mean, don't take it too seriously, but it's good, dumb fun. So that's where I'm going to go for new books, but we're going to go with, since Aaron's here, here's that Rogue. Now
we're talking.
Stupid plastic-free fucking packages. But I did open it, and Rogue is at least in there, whether her extra hands and whatever that's supposed to be in there
should be in a little paper baggie, Doc.
Yeah, it's in, it's wrapped up in. By the way, it is not plastic free because Rogue herself is in like plastic wrap.
It's so dumb.
Also, it's a plastic toy. So
why doesn't it open up like a window or something? That's just
because then you'd still have to have the plastic. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to cut costs. They kept saying it was for environmental reasons, but really it was a cost cutting measure.
Yeah.
So they could make a few more pennies on each figure.
Yeah. So I got that at Ollie's, so there is no way I'd pay retail, but for $9.99 at Ollie's, not bad. Then we will go with, since Rob is doing his last hurrah on Deadpool, we'll go with his other creation. This is the second printing of New Mutants 87, and I always love this cover. It's been homaged a billion times at this point, but it's a really good, fun story. Then we will go with Cable and Deadpool, and this was kind of when Deadpool got his second life, because he had kind of already fallen off right before, in a couple of years before this. But we're also going to go with something very amusing. Look, Cable's face, the eye and the scar, the flashy eye and the scar, they're wrong.
I mean, that was typical when Rob would draw things on the same page. Like even in Youngblood, like things would. It's like you could have just looked up to the panel that you just drew.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll go with Cable and Deadpool #1. This is a really look. If you have not read this series, there is an omnibus out. Go pick it up, or pick up the first 6 issues of it are actually kind of hard. They're a little more expensive. But you can pick up the omnibus. It's a really fucking fun story, even though it also has customer douchebag Mark Brooks on art for the first, I think, 6 issues. But then I think it switches over to Riley Brown, and it's really fucking good. But I mean, fuck Mark Brooks, and this is before he also started doing his wet covers. But no, it's a really cool, fun story. And then, because Yule's here, I have to go with a slab.
Don't take that out. I don't think it will be good for it.
No, actually, it probably won't. But no, you hit the nail on the head earlier. There's a lot of problems with CGC these days, and slabs in general. They're just kind of, so if you are looking for slabs and you're willing to pay the price, there's a lot on the market, and maybe sellers are a little bit more open for negotiation these days because the market's so shitty and because of a lot of dumb decisions by CGC and a lot of other nonsense. But I will always recommend that you go buy an X-Men #1. I don't care if it's slabbed. I don't care if it's raw. Just buy one, own one, because it's great to own a piece of history like this. So that's it for me.
There we go. Those are our comic book recommendations. Really enjoyed the show, and we will definitely be featuring our favorite stories of whatever character or team or whatever at the end to provide some more stuff for you to go out and look for. Although this week is admittedly very good. There were actually a lot of comic books that I think are awesome, and you're going to have an enormous Best of the Week show with Drew coming up here in a few hours. Thank you very much to everybody, and special guest Uel Carter, who's been avoiding us because he took it personal, but respectful. No, all right.